All right, a Friday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Jack Johnson heading up until 2 o'clock. The next 4 hours, we've got you. Fun Friday ahead of us. We'll talk some NFL football. We'll talk some college football on the docket. We will get into some Major League Baseball. We know what it looks like now with 9 games to play with all of these teams. Royals, Twins, Tigers, Orioles, all with 9 games left in the season. And the Tigers, from 11 games out, wake up today in the wild card position. The Twins wake up today out of the wild card because they don't have the tiebreaker over the Tigers. And the Tigers and Twins are tied, correct? Because the Tigers are technically, I looked this morning, it showed the Tigers in the playoff spot. So I assumed that the Tigers had the, either way, they're tied with Minnesota.
I somehow see it as Minnesota over Detroit.
Well, then that's fine.
On the ESPN thing, but they are tied, correct?
They are tied record-wise. I don't know what the tiebreaker is between those two as to who owns the season series. And they do not play each other again. So somebody's already won the season series there. So maybe if yours shows Minnesota, mine showed Detroit. So
it looks like it says the Twins hold the tiebreaker over the Tigers. We've got to win baseball games, says catcher Ryan Jeffers.
There you go. So like I said, Minnesota's still in that final wild card spot based on the tiebreaker. And Detroit and Minnesota, they're both 2 games back of the Royals. So as we said yesterday, depending on what happened on Thursday, what happened with the Twins and what happened with the Orioles, we'll see what position the Royals are going to be in heading into these final 9 games. But you start to do the math, what the Royals have in front of them, and the position they have put themselves in means that both the Twins and the Tigers have to play 3 games better than the Royals these final 9 games for the Royals to miss the playoffs. It doesn't mean it can't happen, but they both have to do that for the Royals to. It's not just one. They're not the 3rd wild card spot and 3 games back like they are, 2nd wild card spot from the Orioles. They're not in a position, the Twins are in right now. The Twins have to play even with Detroit or 3 games better than the Royals to make the playoffs. Royals just have to play less than at least 2 games worse. No worse than 2 games worse than the Tigers or the Twins the rest of the way for them to make the postseason. But that means they got to go and win games. I mean, you go and lose. This is a big series. It's a big Friday and Saturday night because you got Blake Snell on the mound coming up on Sunday, and you got a couple of guys that I'm not sure I've ever heard of them. Mason Black and Tanner Rope or Taylor Rope or Trevor Rope or
Landon.
Yeah, like I said, Landon Rope. I knew it started with an S though. Slippy, Slappy, Samsonite Rope. Samsonite Rope. Mason Black and Samsonite Rope going tonight and tomorrow against Michael Waka and then Brady Singer. We'll see what we get 50-50, good or bad Brady Singer on Saturday. But then a great matchup with Blake Snell and Seth Lugo on Sunday. So we'll talk some Major League Baseball today as well. Lee Sterling's going to get you set for the weekend with a little more than a rooting interest. Paramount Sports hanging out with Todd Lebo. That comes up at later on this hour. Matt Derrick at 11 o'clock. Kendall Gammon coming up at noon. We'll hang out with Mick Schaefer about 12:30 or so. And we will hear from Andy Reid, Fast Friday from Andy Reid coming up today in the 1 o'clock hour. And we'll get the cuts before the show is over as well. 913-912-4810 is the text line. 913-912-4810, the text line to join us.
If you think the Royals have been playing some horrendous baseball, and they have, imagine being a Twins fan right now because they, in their last 30 games, anyone want to take a guess at how many wins they have in their last 30 games?
10.
Yeah, you're correct, Jack. They're 10-20 in their last 30 games. 10-20.
That's crazy. So, doesn't seem to be conducive of a team that's going to turn it on and play 3 games better than the Royals in these last 9.
And they have Boston on the road beginning this weekend, and they still have to take on the Orioles at the end of the year. And who knows? I mean, the Orioles, like when the Royals play the Braves at the end of the year, the Orioles might have the number 1 wild card spot locked up and have nothing to play for at that point.
True.
So we can't get too far ahead. But going to Fenway Park when you're already skidding, whether the Red Sox are in it or not, is not a favorable thing.
Yeah, and Baltimore plays both Detroit and Minnesota in these final 3 series of the season. They also play New York for 3. But yeah, 913-912-4810 is the text line to join us to be a part of the show. Let's get into the Chiefs. They take on the Falcons this weekend, and the line keeps moving towards Atlanta. It's now Chiefs by 3. The total has also gone down, so expected to be a little lower scoring in this game, which is what Cynthia thought as well, that it'd be a lower scoring game. I'm going back and forth on this one, and I'm not trying to waffle and, straddle the fence here, because I felt throughout most of this week that this was a game that concerned me, because I do worry about the Chiefs. And I know that we heard from Travis Kelce when he was like, who do we play next week? And, last year, the year before, and it was like not even close. And he was serious. It's like, I have no idea. He said, like, is it the Chargers or something? And it was like, they were playing like the White Sox or something. I'm not sure. But like evidence of players really do get into sort of a weekly. They can look at the whole schedule when it comes out, but then during the season, it's like so hyper, micro focused on that next team, that next opponent, to where do they look at the schedule and go, all right, Ravens-Bengals. Man, can you get through that at home? Ravens-Bengals, those are 2 big games. Tiebreakers, playoff implications on the line. And then you got Atlanta. Okay. Then you go to L.A. New coach, divisional game, first division game. It's on the road. That Atlanta NFC game, road game, right in between those other 3 games is a little scary. But do the Chiefs have that was Baltimore and that was Cincinnati, but now it's Atlanta specifically. Like, I've gone back and forth if there's all right, made it through Baltimore and Cincinnati. Because I know there's a feeling around Kansas City of, wow, you made it through Baltimore and Cincinnati. You didn't play well. You won both games on the last play of the game. You're 2-0. They're 0-2. That is and the tiebreaker. I mean, you got a 2.5 game lead over Baltimore and Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. That's huge. And now an NFC game that doesn't mean as much because, you'd rather, if you win one of the next 2, you want to win the one 2 weeks from now in L.A. Against your division rival. I don't know that the Chiefs have that mindset this early in the season. But when I look at the line dropping towards Atlanta, I start to ask myself, there's a couple of ifs that go into this. If the Chiefs had not turned the ball over 3 times, right? These are ifs, right? You can also flip the if and say if Joe Burrow doesn't fumble and they don't get a scoop and score, it's even worse.
Yeah.
But turnovers were an issue in that game. They were -2 in turnovers. They somehow won the game. Offensively, only scored 19 points. If Saquon Barkley catches the ball and Atlanta doesn't have that final drive to win the game, what would we think the line would be? Like, would it still be going towards Atlanta? Or would we look at it and go, all right, well, the Chiefs scored 26, 27 points if you take away one of those turnovers, right? Just one of the turnovers. Chiefs scored 27, took care of business with the Bengals, got a little nip-tuck late, and Atlanta's 0-2, and they, couldn't do anything offensively against the Eagles. Now the Chiefs are coming to town.
I think the 5-point line that it opened at would probably be what it would be. I don't know. I know the Chiefs struggle with tight ends, and I wonder how much this is just people going, well, Kyle Pitts. The Kyle Pitts potential has been talked about ad nauseum for 4 years now. It's crazy, right? It's absurd. He's talented, but at some point you got to do it.
The Kyle Pitts potential. I like the alliteration.
And I don't see Algie Crumpler walking in anytime soon. So,
and if he does, he's going to be old. And what did Rick say? It was Larry Bird, and those guys are not. And if they do, they're going to be old and. Doesn't matter. But Algie Crumpler is going to be old. So if he walks in that door.
As far as good tight ends, like Kyle Pitts is still potential. He's talented. Don't get me wrong, but that's not how he really lines up for Atlanta. So they're not taking advantage of that. On the other side too, I don't see Sean Weatherspoon all of a sudden coming in because where do the Falcons struggle defensively?
Weatherspoon.
Yeah,
nice
we're just doing pulls right now.
Well done.
Guys talking about dudes. Where does the Falcons defense struggle? Linebackers. Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce should feast in this one. And that's what I see. So I see the line going down, and I think a lot of it is based on what, again, we saw from the Chiefs in that final drive of the Falcons. But maybe I'm being a little naive here. I think it's going to be a closer game. But this much of a drop to me is very surprising. I think it's an overreaction.
Yeah, it's a 2-point drop. It's now down to 3. Opened at 5, now down to 3.
It feels like just everything's fresh in the mind of what the Falcons did on Sunday Night Football. I mean, if Saquon Barkley does catch the ball, the only thing, in my opinion, impressive that Atlanta did was that final drive, right? Because they had that final drive, now everybody's thinking Atlanta could be on the upswing. You can erase what happened in Week 1, and they beat Philadelphia on the road, whereas Kansas City, they didn't look that good, and there's probably a large chunk of NFL fans out there that thought the Chiefs got gifted the game because of the officials. So that's why some of the money's coming in on Atlanta. I do fear this might look a little bit like that game the Chiefs had in Indianapolis against Matt Ryan. Hopefully not the same result, right? But I could see that odd struggle, right? Somebody for Atlanta not named Drake London or Bijan Robinson or Kyle Pitts has a big game, and you go, how is that happening? And the same way last week, Mike Gesicki has a big game and not Jamar Chase. I think that still could be an issue for Kansas City, but as Sterling brought up, I don't know how Atlanta is going to defend the top contributors for Kansas City. The only benefit is that they don't have to worry about Isaiah Pacheco. They know the Chiefs are going to want to throw the ball in this game, but it also may give a little bit of a boost to somebody like Carson Steele, where you're not really expecting him to carry the ball 10 to 15 times, but maybe Andy Reid goes reverse psychology or the reverse Uno card and gives Carson Steele a lot of carries in this game to kind of surprise attack Atlanta. So I think it's moving in favor of the Falcons because people fell in love with what they did against Philadelphia, and people did not fall in love with what the Chiefs did against the Bengals.
Something's going to have to give in this game because we've talked about, pass rush, defensive line. You weighed in on Sunday, Sterling, and the question was, what's more concerning? Was it, left tackle, offensive line, or was it the defensive line and pass rush? I think that was the question, right? Was it left tackle?
I believe so.
Left tackle. Either way, whatever the question was, the answer that you had was the pass rush on the defensive line.
Correct.
Which I completely agree with. Something's going to have to give in this game. It's a data point with Pro Football Focus. So, take it with a grain of salt, whatever you will. But if we look at some of the pass rush grades on true pass reps, pass snap reps, and look at those compared to the Chiefs, and then look at what the Chiefs offensive line and the Falcons offensive line, and then look what the Chiefs defensive line has done. We know that Kingsley has struggled, and he got benched. He's graded out this year in true pass sets with a pass blocking grade of 42.
Yikes.
Not great. Trey Smith grades out at 48.
Surprising to me.
He struggled in pass block. He had a couple against the Ravens where he whiffed.
I thought he was great against the Bengals, so I thought it would even out a little more.
Better. Creed has a 64. Tooney and Juwan Taylor are both tied at 66.6, repeating, of course. But then you look at the Atlanta Falcons. So Kingsley's number is 42. So remember that number, Kingsley, 42. Here are the numbers for the Atlanta Falcons. Drew Dahlman, their center, 28.9. Lindstrom, the right guard, 43.8.
Wow, that's surprising. He's great.
Yeah. McGarry, the right tackle, 44. Remember, Kingsley has a 42.
Yeah.
Matthew Bergeron, the left guard, 49. And then Jake Matthews has a 65, their left tackle. But their center, right guard, right tackle, through 2 games against some pretty good defenses.
I was going to say, how much of that is weighted on the T.J. Watt masterclass?
Right, absolutely. They've got, although you've got center, right guard, and right tackle that are all in the 40s.
Yeah, you know what?
Or center at 28.9. T.J. Watt's not going up against him very much.
You're right.
Chris Jones should feast. And Turk Wharton.
You would think you've got center, right guard, left guard are 28.9, 43.8, and 49. I bring those numbers up because we look at Kingsley and go, yeah, he struggled. And you see the number 42 and you go, yeah, that checks out. Well, does it check out then with the Atlanta Falcons? The same thing. And the something's got to give is what the Chiefs' defensive line has done. So I'll give you these numbers from a year ago. This is pass rush win rate for the Chiefs' defensive line. Chris Jones was at 19% last year. Karlaftis was at 13%. Aminahu was at 12%. Turk was at 9.4%, and Dana was at 7.9%. This year, so Jones 19% last year, 18.7% this year. Jones is still Jones.
Yeah.
Karlaftis was 13% last year. He's at 6.8 through 2 weeks. Charles Aminahu, nothing.
Yeah.
Turk was 9.4. He's at 9.9 this year. Pretty good. Turk's looked better. Mike Dana was at 7.9. He's at 3.8 this year.
Yeah, Mike Dana, I thought has really struggled getting off the line.
And FAU's at a 5.9. So if you say Charles Omenihu to FAU, it'd be 11.8 to 5.9.
Yeah.
So you're down a half with Karlaftis, a half with FAU to Omenihu, and a half with Dana from this year to last year. So something's got to give because you got 4 of the 5 offensive linemen for the Falcons that have really struggled in pass protection, and you've got the Chiefs' defensive line that has really struggled to put pressure on the opposing team. That's pass rush win rate in true pass rush sets.
Yeah.
So that's not when the quarterback scrambles, right? So that's going to be, or it's not when designed quarterback runs, excuse me.
Sure.
Just because the quarterback has the ball. It will be quarterback scrambles if you win your individual matchup. It also doesn't have to be a pressure because if the quarterback immediately rolls out to the right and you whip somebody, you still won that pass rush rep. But the Chiefs are well down this year. And we've seen that too. So some of these numbers match the eye test, right? And that's where who wins that matchup? Does the Atlanta Falcons offensive line improve? Does the Chiefs defensive line eat? And Spags does some things to make that Atlanta offensive line look as bad as the Steelers did and the Eagles did at times, to where Kirk Cousins is as uncomfortable as he's looked in 6 of the 8 quarters so far that he's played this year in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like that will decide a lot in this game, if it's a close game or if the Chiefs do get some breathing room and sort of keep Atlanta at arm's length.
Well, and the Chiefs need to score quick, which is, I know seems such a simplistic thing to say, but those offensive linemen for the Falcons, they thrive in run blocking. Chris Lindstrom, who, again, I think is going to bounce back.
Yep.
He's a 2-time All-Pro. I mean, he is a very good guard.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
But this year he's been atrocious in pass blocking grade. I mean, the numbers you're bringing up, I'm looking at PFF right now.
Yeah.
74th out of 81 guards in pass block. But in run block, he's 7 out of 81.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you can force him to throw the ball, force him to throw the ball 30 times, 35 times with Kirk, then Chris Jones, Turk Warden up the middle, they should feast. I do think Jake Matthews is a very good left tackle. McGarry is a solid right tackle. But the center and left guard, they can be beat. And right now, what we're seeing from Chris Lindstrom, at least early on in the season, as far as pass blocking, you can get him. Chris Jones should line up over the center or him the entire game.
I think it's mainly going to come down to the Chiefs' effectiveness in the red zone, probably on both sides of the ball here. I mean, against Cincinnati, I thought they were not good at all. I think when you get inside of 5 yards, you almost see the Chiefs' offense in a different light. They run draws on back-to-back plays. They can't really get too much separation with their receivers or Travis Kelce in the end zone. And even against Baltimore, they struggled early on in that game, being able to put 6 on the board and had to settle with 3. And when you're on the road in an environment like this against a team that I think to most people is viewed as the underdog, regardless of what the line says, you can put them away early if you capitalize on your first chance in the red zone. You go up 7-0 or you go up 14-0, 14-3, because that is going to put Atlanta in a situation to throw the ball 50 times. If you can't capitalize and Atlanta continues to hang around, well, they can use Bijan Robinson as much as they want in this game, and that might give them more of an advantage going into the red zone against that Chiefs defense.
Not to mention that Arthur Blank is giving away a hot dog, chips, and a soda to everybody in attendance at the game. I mean, you're going up against that too. So
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's sold out, and I think he's going into the Falcons Hall of Fame. And so, in honor of that, every single person in attendance, they're giving him like some sort of a token or whatever, or something
That's
to
sweet.
exchange.
That's
Everybody
like $30.
gets a hot dog, chips, and a soda.
Have you seen the prices there? Like, they already give away food compared to other NFL stadiums.
Right, and so
They're doing it right. Good for Atlanta. You know what? Tip your cap. They built a whole new, brand new stadium that's incredible, and they're still finding ways to keep it prices cheap.
Yeah.
Good
But
for
yeah,
Atlanta.
so I mean, you gotta go up against that too.
Well, if you watch the Steelers game, they have to keep them cheap because
Well,
there's a lot more towels waving in that
They
stadium.
were a number of times. Yeah, I think there'll be some Chiefs fans in attendance too this weekend. It'll be fun.
They did have to watch Desmond Ritter last year, so that, in fairness to the
They
fans,
earned it.
that's
They earned their hot
they
dog
earned
chips
that
and a
hot
drink.
dog. Yeah,
They should have been giving those away last year.
yeah.
Did you just get a 2-for-1 Groupon to a Falcons game?
That's more like hot dogs for life, not
Yes.
one game.
Yeah, it was called it was the Groupon. It was under the Desmond Ritter coupons. It was the Desmond Ritter 2-for-1. Please show up. We also understand your pain. and we'll give you a hot dog if you show up. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. More Zone right after this. Johnson, Dylan Michaels, heading up until 2 o'clock. Is the cost there? Somebody texted in and said $4 beer, $1.50 soda, $1.50 hot dogs. Maybe that is that what he's doing with Arthur Blank? I thought he was just giving it away.
Is that a Royals game?
No, that's a Royals game from like 1970.
I also
a
think
Royals
that's
game.
like,
Well, they have those like 12-ounce beers.
I think that's like usual pricing almost.
Take me back.
Yeah, I got to look it up of what the specific thing is going to be for this weekend. Falcons
Gotta
game.
get the sunscreen flask.
Chiefs.
That's the move.
As far
Falcons
as-
to give away free hot dogs, chips during Sunday's game.
As far as owners go, actually, Arthur Blank is one of the better ones. Like the Jerry Jones effect, but not Jerry Jones. Like he's on the sideline. You constantly see him, but he's not making headlines and quotes all the time.
So this is great. So on Sunday, the Falcons will honor owner and chairman Arthur Blank by inducting him into the team's Ring of Honor. Okay, so that's what it is. He is going into essentially the Falcons Hall of Fame. Leading the ceremony, the MC, typically it's like the voice of the team.
Can we guess?
Yes, please. Do you want to guess?
Ludacris.
No, it's not Ludacris.
That was mine. Let me
Tyler Perry.
get a second one.
Because Tyler Perry's in Atlanta.
Not Tyler Perry.
Is it an actor or a singer?
It's an actor.
Oh, no.
Oh, Medea then.
Not Medea.
That was the same people. You already said the same people
Yeah,
twice.
he was joking
That was the
about
joke,
Tyler Perry
Dylan.
and then
Yeah.
Medea.
I've never seen him in the same room before, so that's why.
You have not.
Yeah, I've
that
not
is
seen the
that
same
is
room yet.
absolutely true. There could be a lot of MFing and effing.
Oh, Samuel.
Samuel L. Jackson
No
is
way.
the MC.
That's awesome.
He's a good owner. Arthur Blank.
Question.
Answer.
If he's the owner and he's going in the Ring of Honor, does that just mean he's putting himself in the Ring
You
of
have
Honor?
to, yeah. Unless there was a board,
Yeah, like
vote him in.
he just like votes himself in, like, you know what? I deserve this.
How awkward would that round table be? So I'm thinking we should induct somebody into the Hall.
How about this though? It's not just a free. Sorry about that.
No, you go
No,
ahead.
I apologize. I was reading this while you were telling your jokes, so my bad. I stepped all over it. Usually I do that to my own jokes, so my bad. But to celebrate Blank's induction, so all fans attending the game will receive complimentary hot dog and chips, as well as every fan receiving a special souvenir cup that can be filled at any freestanding Coca-Cola machine at no charge. So it's not just one drink. You get the cup, and then any freestanding plate, you just go up and refill whenever you want.
Dude.
They expect to give away 100,000 hot dogs and bags of chips on Sunday, roughly 15,000 more than the total sold during the 2023 season. So they're just giving away free hot dogs all night?
Arthur Blank is awesome.
The lines are going to be ridiculous, though.
They do.
That's a
offer-
great deal.
Oh, the lines.
But, like, you miss
What
an
do you
entire
want?
quarter.
Do you want to pay now? You'd prefer to pay
Well,
and then wait. The line's going to be
What-
crazy
so-
regardless.
But here's the thing. Dylan, you're right. The regular price is a $2 hot dog and $2 unlimited drinks at Falcons games.
Yeah.
That's
$2 per hot dog. That's not just Sunday. That's their regular price is $2 hot dogs and $2 unlimited soft drinks.
An article here says they were last year at the Saints game, which was the last game of the season. They were the fourth cheapest on average for concessions listed in the NFL. So they're not the best, but still, I mean,
That's
that
the
is
fourth?
Better than that.
I
That's
agree.
the fourth?
I know. I don't know how.
Maybe they're upcharging on beer or something like that.
So
and
that's
it's
what
like,
they said. So-
for the family-friendly thing, you get the kids. So it's not going to cost you $100 to eat there if you take the kids to a game. You can get the hot dogs and a soda.
16-ounce beers, $9.25 in 2016.
I mean,
That's
about right.
That's about
That's
the
like
same
50.
as
That's almost
Chiefs,
50 cents an ounce.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not terrible.
Yeah.
Also, at 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern, T.I. will be having a concert there. So T.I. will have a
There we
concert, then into the Arthur Blank ceremony, then into the game.
Well, Ludacris should have been there, but
You're
that's
saying
okay.
it's ludicrous that he's not?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I would say, too.
Am I a big Home Depot guy now? Like, like Arthur Blank? Good for you. Hats off. Even though my hat's on, but like I would
Yeah,
take it off.
You got a hat on for him.
Yeah, hat on for you.
Hat on for you, Arthur Blank. Hat on. Yeah, that's pretty legit, man. I didn't realize about the cheap pricing there in Atlanta. I just thought, you're giving away. But it's not just free hot dog. It says free hot dogs and chips, and they're expected to give away
Plural.
100,000. So, like, all you can eat hot dogs and chips at the game and soft drink. That's my dream. Like, a lot of people think of, like, all you can eat and drink. Like, all right, is this top shelf? Like, what kind of liquor are they going to offer? What kind of beer? It's all you can drink? Heck yeah. And I'm like, hold on, all you can eat and hot dogs and soft drinks? I am in, man.
I guess actually the line wouldn't be as long now that I think about it because you're not paying anything. You just, here's the hot dog.
Exactly. It's a great point. Because
And
you're also not going up there going,
What do I want?
God, what do I want?
You know what?
Like you're waiting behind somebody at McDonald's, like, what do I want? It's McDonald's. You know what you want before you get there. They've
Probably-
had the same thing for 100 years. It's McDonald's. Order, damn it.
And the workers
No.
probably get better tips.
The ice cream machine is broken, so don't order that. All right?
All I know is Charlie Warner is the backup tight end for the Falcons, and he might go for 70 yards.
He could. He could back up
Take
tight
the
ends.
over.
Whatever.
his yardage
I
total is.
literally pulled up.
over under is
I literally
2.5.
pulled up the Falcons tight end. I was like, Jonnu Smith's no longer there. Who's their backup tight end? Because that guy I'm ripping the over on.
Over under is 2.5 for
Ro-
that guy.
Ross,
yards.
the third string, Ross Dwelly. Yeah. Might
Ross
throw a little
Dwelly.
sprinkle on
Yes.
good old Ross.
Jack, who gets the ring for you this week?
Yeah, pretty easy pick for me this time around. It has to be Shohei Ohtani, who capitalized on his 50-50 season. I'll tell you this. I'm excited that his 50th home run did not come off the position player. That was his 51st home run, which looked like a beer league softball game. Somebody just lobbing it up there, and he hit it to the third deck. About 50 rows up as well. So, yeah, Shohei Ohtani, pretty easy pick for me of who gets the ring this week. And Who Gets the Ring is brought to you by Rubeck Fine Jewelry. Check out their amazing new location by scheduling your appointment today at rubeck.co. That's rubeck.co.
The news that came from last night during that game, because they wanted to make sure that they would authenticate when he became the first 50-50 player. And, you know, he hits his 50th home run last night. He also hits his 51st, but he hit 49, 50, and 51. So they know which home run balls were 49, 50, and 51. So whoever caught them, they know for a fact. And it's like, well, they authenticated all the balls for 50. And they started authenticating those balls when he hit his 49th home run in the 6th inning before his 50th home run in the 7th inning. they had all of 20 minutes to authenticate every ball that was going to be put into play that Shohei Ohtani was going to be swinging against to make sure that if he hit number 50, they had 20 minutes to get that done, and they got it done. So whatever home run 50 and 51 and every home run moving forward, because whatever he ends with will be the record for home. It won't be right now it's the 51-51 club. I know it's fun to say 50-50, it's a round number, but he's at 51 and 51. Like, he's not at 50-50 right now. He's at 51-51. So whatever it ends at, though every single home run ball will be authenticated from here on out. But I just love that it took them, they had 20 minutes buffer to get those balls authenticated and marked in some way, shape, or form before he hit his next one.
What's so wild is 51 stolen bases, and he's been picked off like 4 times. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like he's just running for the sake of he's going to get picked off 15 times, 20 times, but he wants the stolen bases. He wants the numbers. No, it's because he's really freaking good. And last night, the only thing he could have done that would have made last night better, because last night may be the best game in the history of a Major League Baseball player. He was 6 for 6, 1 single, 2 doubles, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, 2 stolen bases. If one of those doubles was a triple, he would have also hit for the cycle. Think of that. He would have had 3 home runs and also hit for the cycle with 10 RBIs.
He is the first player to have 17 total bases without having 4 home runs in those 17 total bases. So, like, I think the other 5 players that have 17 total bases all had 4 home runs. So you got 16 of your 17 total bases on the home runs because he had the 2 doubles and the single. Why didn't he just stretch one of those doubles into a triple, man? That's so easy. You're so fast.
Pretty good pitcher, too. Like, that's what's so insane. I mean, like, this guy's doing this, and he also throws up a 2.7 ERA.
Yeah. I mean, that's why,
A unicorn.
That's why he's worth the $2 million they're paying him this year, because at worst, even if he's not good at pitching, he can always be, one of, if not the best hitters in baseball and have probably, and I think did have the greatest single individual game performance last night. He added 0.7 WAR to his total this year last night alone. And as somebody pointed out last night, Alex Verdugo's at 0.6 for the season.
national sports handicapping champion Lee Sterling on the Zone. Log on to ParamountSports.com or call toll-free 800-400-9741 to get started.
Welcome back into the Zone here on this Red Friday on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It is Friday, and you know what that means. At this time of day, it's Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports getting ready for the big sports weekend. And what's going on, man? Lee, you've got something going on you've never done before. What is shaking at Paramount Sports?
All right, well, we actually have done the Baker's Dozen before. Normally, you got to be with us. You got to come on board for a month or the season. And we've done some Baker's Dozen. We probably do it twice or three times a year, but I've never done this. You can not only get the 13 games for $97 for Saturday and Sunday, and we've had some 12-1, 11-2, 10-3 finishes. Probably close to 50% of them have been that good. But I'm going to guarantee I'm going to have a winning card. If for some reason I don't go 7-6 or better, next week is free. And you ready for this? I'm also going to throw in baseball from today through Sunday. So we're red hot in baseball. We're on a 17-4 run in baseball. So you come aboard for just $97. You're going to get 13 games, combined college and in the NFL, and they're ready to go. You don't have to call us back on Saturday or Sunday. You want to get them now and bet them, you're all set. Baseball, the selections will be texted or emailed to you daily. But just my way of saying, hey, give me a small chance. Just come aboard for $97, and I'm so sure I'm going to win. If I don't, next week is on me. So I love the card this week.
That is awesome. Baker's Dozen Plus is what we'll call that. Yeah, ParamountSports.com.
Yeah, and all you got to do is go to the website. It's that easy. Go to ParamountSports.com, where on the homepage says recent results. You can see everything I've had for last 5 years, but where it says Purchase Picks, just click on Purchase Picks, and it's right up there, ready to go. And as soon as you pay, a window pops open with all 13 games. It's that easy.
Let's get it right now. ParamountSports.com. All right, let's talk about some games. These may or may not be part of the Baker's Dozen. Big game, first SEC game for Oklahoma at home. Saturday night, they're big underdogs at home. I don't know the last time Oklahoma's been near a touchdown underdog at home, but they are this week against a very good Tennessee team.
Maybe before the Selman brothers were there or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I went back. I couldn't find anything in the last 15 years. So I was a little shocked at the line. Well, it was the look-ahead line before last week's results, before Tennessee won 71-0, was 3.5. Now it's 7. So, it's kind of the public. They just want to make sure. Trust me, the sports books are going to love if you bet Oklahoma. The public's going to be pouring money in on Tennessee. And they've looked great. I mean, 191-13, they've outscored their opponents. Their offense looks incredible. But their quarterback, Nico, this kid, has never gone on the road, true road game. His first start was in a bowl game against Iowa last year. They have played 2 home games and a neutral site game in Charlotte against North Carolina State, which was pretty much like a home game. So this will be his first road start. And then the Volunteers' 2 road games last year against ranked opponents, they lost by 14 to Alabama and 29 to Missouri. So, even though this is a huge game for him and it's a homecoming for Josh Heupel, where he won the 2000 national championship as a quarterback, sometimes, these storybook endings, they just don't materialize. So I'm going to take Oklahoma. I think their defense is going to step up. And I think that they're going to get a couple takeaways. And I also think the offense is going to be able to exploit a Tennessee secondary. I think the Tennessee defensive backs, cornerbacks specifically, might be the worst in the SEC. You got to go against them. You got to attack them from the beginning. They just haven't been exploited here. Wrong team favored. Oklahoma outright, 30-28.
Well, I hope you're right. You know that much. There's no question about that. All right, Missouri is still at home here. They've got Vanderbilt, Vanderbilt's been a little bit impressive this year, but Missouri's a 21-point favorite. They kind of survived last week against BC.
Yeah, the quarterback, Diego Pavia, the transfer from New Mexico State, impressive kid. I mean, over 2 years, 39 touchdowns. He's ran for almost 1,500 yards. He makes things happen. Not really a runner, but he'll buy time. And a lot of times, like 3rd and 5, can't find a receiver. He'll run for 6-7 yards. He's a leader. they're not real deep on defense, but Missouri really hadn't played anyone until last week, and Boston College, first 3 possessions, scored 2 touchdowns. So I think that Vanderbilt can score a little bit on them here. Missouri, just the receivers are just so good. They break tackles, and, I mean, they got some game breakers there. I think they're going to win this game 37-20. But I'm going to hold my nose or breath, however you want to call it, and take Vanderbilt plus 21.
Any way you get it done is good enough for Missouri at this point. Now, K-State is going to be little late night action. This is how the Big 12 is now. There's going to be some late games. They're going to be out at BYU. Yeah. They've not gone to Provo before. BYU is kind of surviving so far this year. K-State was very impressive last week against Arizona. They're almost a touchdown favorite on the road at BYU.
So BYU is not real talented, but they haven't played anyone. BYU, check this out, played Southern Illinois, Wyoming. This might be the worst Wyoming team in 40, 50 years. And SMU, who there was a lot of promise. They thought that they might have a good team. They had a returning quarterback they thought was their guy. And just like baseball, when a pitcher can't get the ball over the plate, this guy, I mean, it's become a disaster. I mean, he plays sometimes a series or two. Preston Stone, he was good last year. I mean, 28 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions. He has the yipes, and they had to go with their backup. So they really haven't beaten anyone. Their quarterback is a nice little story. Jake Ratliff, this kid is, a former junior college kid. He probably is a second or third stringer at most colleges. They're going to have to play well and clean to have a chance against Kansas State. Avery Johnson's so good that he ran Will Howard off to Ohio State, and DJ Giddens is a beast. 324 rushing yards in 3 games, and the defense held Arizona, a potent Arizona offense, in check last week, held them to 7 points here. I think Kansas State pulls away late 32-20.
Be nice enough for them to get that win. Let's talk a little NFL. I think one of the best stories in the league so far, which we haven't seen a lot about because it's West Coast and all that, is the Chargers. They're 2-0 with some good coaching by Jim Harbaugh. Got a nice, simple road win last week. But Pittsburgh's a different animal. Pittsburgh is a tough coach team as well. What do you like about this game?
I think that we're going to see the Chargers try to run the football. In fact, so far this season, no team has run the ball more than them. They're running it over 59% of the time. J.K. Dobbins, probably an early candidate for comeback player of the year. Just watch the line of scrimmage. If the Chargers can get 4, 5, 6 yards on first down, it's going to spell trouble for Pittsburgh. But I think they're going to load the box. I just think that they feel that the Chargers receivers can't beat them. And Chargers have played well. I mean, they're improved. They're 2-0. They finally have a coach. But I just think that the line of scrimmage play, the defense for Pittsburgh, and the game breakers, just too much, and even special teams here. Pittsburgh, 21-16 over the Chargers.
We're talking to Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. The Chiefs are on the road. Couple of home games came down to the last second twice. I mean, literally to the last second twice. They've won them both. Falcons got a big boost on Monday Night Football with their come-from-behind win at Philadelphia. They should be riding high in this home game here. The Chiefs are favorites, 3-point favorites on the road, but this is probably a dangerous game for them.
Oh, I think so. Patrick Mahomes is so good, but only 225 yards per game passing this year, as many touchdowns as interceptions. And it's not going to get easier without the workhorse Isaiah Pacheco out for 6 weeks or longer. Carson Steele, okay, kind of an interesting replacement here, but as great as Mahomes is at scrambling, that has a limit, obviously, for obvious reasons. Atlanta outlasted the Eagles Monday night despite 180 combined rushing yards by Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. So I just don't think they have that kind of running attack to hurt this Atlanta team as much. Atlanta has a really good offensive line here. In Kansas City, they're gonna have to slow down a Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier combination that might be, with their speed and talent and catching the ball, might be 1-2 right now, best 1-2 punch in the NFL. So what we saw in the first week, Atlanta really put the kibosh on Kirk Cousins doing anything crazy. They had him sitting in the gun a lot. Now played a lot more under center in the second game, and that's his bread and butter, play action, one of the best play action quarterbacks here. Remember also, Kansas City has the Chargers coming up next week. So they have bigger fish to fry. If there was a game to lose, this would be it. I like Atlanta. Tight game. I'll take the 3.5 points. I think it's a 3-point game either way. Falcons outright 27-24.
It'll be a gut check for sure.
Yep.
There's no question about that. Now, you've also got a free play for us, and you've got a Baker's Dozen Plus. Free play's got the Kansas Jayhawks in it.
Yep. This should be a fun game here. Two teams that are desperate for a win. Probably both should have won last week, West Virginia and Kansas. You want to get this game. First 5 callers, call right now. I'll give it to them for free. I have a real strong opinion on one side here. West Virginia laying 2.5 versus Kansas. First 5 callers, call 800-400-9741. Get West Virginia and Kansas on me. And like I mentioned at the beginning, world's famous Baker's Dozen. I get so many emails and DMs and calls for it. Well, this is the week. 13 games, $97 combined, Saturday and Sunday, $97. It's an instant download. And if we don't have a winning record, next week is on me. And we're also going to throw in the baseball selections, where we're 17-4 over the last 21 games over the last week, and up over 660 units on the season. This way you can sample those and maybe come aboard through the World Series. So how do you get the world's famous Baker's Dozen? Go to the website, ParamountSports.com right now. Click on Purchase Picks or call us right now at the office, 800-400-9741.
All right, good luck, Lee. That should be a lot of fun. We will be right back with more on this Red Friday on the Zone. Matt Derrick up next with Jason Anderson.
Bengals. Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest, 41 is the Mike podcast, joining us here on this Friday. Matt, welcome into the show, brother.
Yes.
All right, Matt's in.
I'm pumped up.
Matt
I'm
is
pumped.
in. You know what else is going on? In about 10 minutes from now, we got the Sad Fans Bengals edition today because, people have been waiting for it. It's going to be epic. The Sad Fans Ravens was pretty darn good. These are a couple haymakers coming right out of the gates this year. It's not like it's a slow burn. Like, I wonder what. I mean, it might be Sad Fans Chiefs next week if they lose, but if they win, I wonder how much it'll be, like how good Sad Fans Falcons will be. There isn't that sort of hatred maybe from the Falcons to the Chiefs, where that's been the case with the Ravens and Bengals. So there was a lot of vitriol in those Reddit comments. But yeah, we have come out of the gates swinging. So 11:15, Sad Fans Bengals edition. We will play that for you right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. Matt, how are you on this Friday, man? You look good.
I couldn't be better.
I know. We couldn't be better because you're in with us, brother. The Bengals game could have been better. Let's just start there. There's a lot of things.
A win's a win.
There's
a
lot
win's
of
a win.
It could have been better. They could have won by a lot more. They could have not lost Pacheco. Like, there's a lot of things they could have been better. But you said a win's a win, so maybe that's the answer there. I was going to start off with just asking you, like, how do you view that win for the Chiefs over the Bengals? Now we're 5 days removed from that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Chiefs. You know me, I took them by 2 touchdowns last week and said it could be worse. Hey, I give it to Joe Burrow. He's got more in that hand than I thought that he had. He made a couple of really good throws.
Yeah.
Couple of really nice tosses. He had some downfield strength. I was impressed. But here's, if you want to look at the positive, and Nick and I talked about it on our podcast. Why did the Bengals? Why were they able to hang close? Why were they able to do what they did? Because Lou Anarumo threw the kitchen sink at the Chiefs' offense. I mean, they did everything that they could. I mean, he had a great game plan. Obviously, created a couple of turnovers. One was spectacular. Mahomes made a couple of mistakes, but I think that Lou tipped his hand. He showed his hand. He showed everything that the Bengals have. That's not going to work next time. If these two teams may face each other again, it's not going to work again. Because now you've got a few months for Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes to come up with some solutions, and I don't think it's going to be too hard for them to do that. So, I don't think that the Chiefs gave away a whole lot. So they did what they did. I don't think there was anything too tricky except for one play when those tricky Chiefs do what they do. But
Leo Chenal's out there, fullback.
And I was
baby.
ready for that. You could take Leo Chenal as a fullback and just inject it straight into my veins.
That would kill you, though. I mean, it would.
Well, but what a
you.
way to go. I mean, that's
that's Leo
That's
Chenal
the
in your
way
veins.
I want to go.
Yeah.
How
Exactly.
Did he die in war? First responder.
he overdosed
protecting his
from Leo
family?
Chenal.
He mainlined Leo Chenal.
Yeah.
That's just a little too much Chenal.
But I mean,
Talk about death row.
And I mean, I didn't get the impression that they worked on that a whole lot. I mean, that it was just maybe a couple of times in practice and everything, nothing too much. But hey, Leo's a former former backfield guy, so did it in high school.
It was a good block. So
Good.
he did his job.
I mean, he's stronger than any defensive player for the most part he's going to go up against. So
Was it Jim Nantz that said that he thinks Leo Chenal is the strongest sort of pound-for-pound player in the NFL?
I would not doubt it.
when
Pound for pound, absolutely.
When he met Burrow in the hole on the quarterback sneak, I think that was the way that Nantz, maybe it was Romo. I doubt it because I don't think Romo would bring that to the table, that sort of bit of information. I don't know, Jim. I don't think he would do that, but I think it was Jim Nantz that when they met in slow-mo and Leo Chenal made the hit, and I think it was Jim Nantz that said, you're going up against maybe what I think is the strongest man in the NFL, and Leo Chenal just
Jim made that point, but Tony stepped all over it.
Yeah,
That's
there
what
you
happened.
go.
That's probably right. How much does he bench, Jim? I don't know. Is he squatting? Let's find out.
But I need to see the variations off that. I need to see Leo catching the
what I said,
football.
dude.
I need to see Leo running. I mean,
A boot the other way because you're going to sneak somebody out. You're going to fake the handoff, and
Leo with a wildcat. I mean, come on.
Well,
wow.
I'm not even being facetious here.
I'm
but-
not either.
But he had in high school, again, this is high school, this is different, 3,706 rushing yards, 68 touchdowns, 1,300 receiving yards, and 17 receiving touchdowns. Mike Vrabel, obviously, was used occasionally in this role, right? do we see Leo catching touchdowns at some point? Because you saw the blocking. That was damn impressive. You're talking about the variations. Is this a legit possibility for the offense? I mean, we saw Wanye Morris catch a touchdown pass. I probably trust Leo more, just he's done it at least in high school.
I would see it. I mean, absolutely, it's a variation I think you can run. So
I'm an idiot on this. He doesn't have to report, right, with 54. It's just those numbers in the 60s and 70s that have
no,
to
he
go
has
and
to report.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he does have.
Yeah.
So like I said,
that was really funny with
I
the-
started by saying I'm a dummy. Like I started it. So I took away all your ammunition away from you, Matt. You can't call me a dummy. I already called myself that.
That was great hearing the officials say 64 and 54 are eligible.
Yeah, that's interesting. I did love that this did not make it in Sad Fans, but there were a lot of Bengals fans that were upset that Wanya Morris did not report on that touchdown, and the Chiefs just got away with it because they didn't care because he did not report. And their proof of him not reporting is that we didn't hear it on the broadcast. So therefore, he did not report. But it doesn't matter. They're not going to make the Chiefs report because that's why.
Pretty sure he did report.
No,
so.
the Bengals did not guard him because he did not report, but the refs did not care. Now that didn't make it into Sad Fans, but there were a lot of those. I'm like, good God, man! Just it's hard to sort of skim through the Sad Fans and get past the same thing over and over. Just the constant whining and complaining about the officials. Like, oh my God, I think it would get tiresome for a fan base to constantly do that. Or
What
just
happened against the
opposing team.
Patriots? Did they have a whole bunch of was it the refs
Nobody,
against the Patriots
everybody,
too? Or?
everybody was reporting against the Patriots.
Yeah.
Even the center, right
Yeah.
guard, left guard, everybody was just reporting.
All
It was
11.
fun.
There you go.
There we
After
go.
watching the Pats play football last night, you look at what the Bengals did week 1, you're like,
Yeah.
"Ooh."
Is this one of those to where, I thought it would be a wider margin. Maybe I put too much into the first weeks of the season, or not enough into the Bengals going, all right, now it's the Chiefs. All right, now, we're going to give everything we have on the field here and play better. But is this just one of those things that these two teams, regardless of sometimes personnel, that how they match up and the intensity of the game, that it's just always going to be a game like this whenever they play?
Feels like it. I mean, as far as I think as far as you have some of the certain personnel there, I mean, it's going to elevate this game. There's no doubt Jamar Chase cares more about this game than he does a few others. Joe Burrow, I think, absolutely cares about this game more than he does a few others. There's still probably a few guys on defense that still care about it. I mean, they've got started to have some turnovers, so I don't think that defense exactly the same. But no, I mean, I think it's accurate. These two teams don't like each other. So, I think that does carry on both sides. So, yeah, I mean, when you got a team that you don't like, you're going to play that way. And I think it's also the Bengals have their formula for how they think that they can beat the Chiefs, and especially defensively.
Yeah.
Which is that you just muddy it and play physical. And, I mean, it's not, when I think about it, it's not completely dissimilar to the way that the Patriots played Mahomes, and back before they collapsed. And
Well, it seems like almost like Lou Anarumo is like Lou Matador. Like it's the red sort of towel saying, "Come on, run the ball. No, run the ball, please, run the ball. We're gonna play back, but we're gonna let you run the ball. Keep going. Hey, they're running the ball. Cool. Keep running the ball. Keep doing it. Keep running the ball. I mean, they averaged like 6 yards per carry in the first half when it was Pacheco, Steele, and even Mahomes, and they scored 10 points. I mean, it's like I know they turned it over a couple of times, but that's sort of the point too with the Bengals going. No, keep running it. Keep going it. Keep doing that because we don't think that there's going to be a 15 or 16. We don't think you're going to have enough 15 or 16 play drives in this game to score enough points to where we're not going to be able to catch up offensively.
I'm going to say something that is going to annoy some people,
Okay.
but I'm going to say it anyway. Chiefs still did not run the ball enough, because I think there was a couple of times when they really had the Bengals defense on their heels, and they could have just literally gone out there and run down the field the entire way without even throwing the football and probably scored a touchdown. And they would get into one of those rhythms, and then it's just like Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes can't help themselves. It's just like they have to throw the football every once in a while. And, whether if it's an incompletion or not, I mean, sometimes if it's an incompletion, it just really kills your vibe. Even if it's complete, it might get you a little bit out of your rhythm a little bit. But at least it breaks it up for the Bengals. But they had them absolutely on their heels. I mean, it was just like all you had to do was just deliver that one more punch, and then they throw the football and let them up off the mat.
Is that part of the strategy, though, knowing that the Chiefs are going to do that? We keep letting them, enticing them, saying, no, run the football, because we're going to play certain defenses that aren't going to let you do what you want to do. We're going to make you and challenge you to continue to run the football. We don't think you're going to do that. You're going to press, and we think number 15 is going to start pressing too and try to do too much on certain drives. And, we're going to get them a couple of times.
I think that there's been the challenge, and that's something that every team in the NFL does against the Chiefs. Chiefs have faced light boxes for years, but the Bengals just have a particularly porous run defense right now, and yet they were still playing the whole go ahead and run the football. We're just we want to make sure that Patrick Mahomes doesn't beat us. So you can run the football all day long.
They were down to like their 6th defensive tackle.
Chiefs could have run the ball 30 times and probably gotten 300 yards on the ground, because a couple of times they would have probably just broken some big ones. So it wouldn't have just been 6 yards of carry the entire time. They would have probably had some big plays.
I do think part of the issue is the Chiefs don't really have that big play back. Like, I love Isaiah Pacheco.
Part of it too.
Well, now he's obviously injured, but Isaiah Pacheco's 11 yards was his longest carry against the Bengals. It was 5 against the Ravens.
Yep.
He's not a big play back. They don't have that. Carson Steele, not a big play back. I mean, Jerick McKinnon was almost a big play back.
When in 2021, at the end of the season when he was filling in for an injured Edwards-Helaire, and McKinnon was the feature back, and again, that was the playoffs against the Bills in the 13 seconds, and then the loss to the Bengals. McKinnon was a difference maker, man. He had a burst. He could get out in space. He could make guys miss. That was as close to Mahomes, and this is going to be blasphemous, but this is what I'm saying, as close to. That version of Jerick McKinnon was as close to Mahomes with Jamal Charles that he's had, as close to. Okay, it's there are different versions of things. Okay, there's a center out there who's he's as close to Shaq as anybody's going to be on this particular team.
Yeah.
Well, but he's 6'9" and 150 pounds. Right, I know, but he's as close to Shaq as anybody on this team is going to be. That style, that burst, that sort of weaving in and out of space, making guys miss, screen pass burst. That's as close as it looked to, man, what would it be like if Mahomes and Jamal Charles played together? They haven't had a back like that with Mahomes since then, because McKinnon's lost steps along the way.
And Kareem Hunt, I think
Wasn't
some
that
people,
type of runner.
he's not that either, at least anymore.
Well,
like
certainly not anymore.
his long the past 3 years has been 33, then 2022, 24. Last year his long was 16.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the Chiefs don't have that explosive weapon in the backfield.
Yeah. All right. 913-912-4810 is the text line. We'll talk a little bit more about this Chiefs team, what they look like right now, what the impact of Pacheco not playing for this team for a while, Kareem Hunt maybe playing for this team, 9 days from now, Patrick Mahomes home versus road, the defense. We'll get into all of those things. Right now, without further ado, we have week number 2. Sad fans on Reddit. Oh, it's a Cincinnati Bengals edition. Here we go. And now, things Bengals fans said on Reddit. These Chiefs are way more annoying than the Pats were. It's the insane luck, the constant love from the commentators, the constant Taylor Swift reactions, and the constant cuts to KC players who barely did shit in the game, all shouting and chanting like they just solved world hunger. If they gave out Grammys for wasting timeouts in the first and third quarter, Zach Taylor would be Taylor Swift. Also, Taylor Swift. I like that one.
Wow.
Romo's doctor doesn't prescribe Viagra. He just has him watch videos of Mahomes throwing a football. Hey guys, T. Higgins is going to be a great addition when he plays one of his 6 games this year.
I like
All right, guys. Gonna go give myself alcohol poisoning now. It's perfect that Joe Burrow's hair looks like Eminem, since this damn team keeps shooting themselves like Cheddar Bob. That's a great line. I heard the refs even bailed out that Chiefs fan bank robber dude. All right, guys, good half. Adjustments for the second half? Have the refs call offensive holding. Tony Romo's morning routine. 1, 2, shower. 3, shave. 4, stare at a naked picture of Mahomes. I don't think that's true.
Wow.
I mean, I'd love for CBS to actually show a replay of why Jamar was mad, an obvious face mask, but they're not going to show it. Reply, Easy, it was a face mask. Reply, face mask. I mean, this is absurd. Reply, he was pulled down by his face mask. Reply, they're not going to show it. They don't want to show that the Chiefs got away with one. Reply, Jamar's never this mad if nothing happened. Reply, he was pulled down by his face mask. Reply, maybe it wasn't the face mask. Only a Chiefs game would someone get called for a technical foul. I mean, you can't make this up. I don't know, but the vibes are weird all over the place in this game. Arrowhead seems dead, and Jamar just tried to stab a ref. Great, another injury to our defensive line. We're about to get into create-a-player mode. Kansas City, Taylor Swift, Andy Reid's old cheeseburger and nuggy-eating ass, the official crew, Kermit the Frog, them all. The end. Tony Romo can eat an entire bag of Reply, he would if the bag was labeled Mahomes. The Chiefs' left tackle won't hold his baby as much as he's holding Trey today.
It's fair.
Holy shit, guys, they're calling KC for holding. The pearly gates are opening up, hell is freezing over, and I have a happy marriage. I don't believe him. This game should have been ours a long time ago, and we're probably about to fold. That's the difference that separates us from being great. Joe Burrow can't close out a tab, let alone a big game. Self-hate. I love it.
Close a tab.
The Chiefs are now, and refs will figure out a way to give them the game range. No way they miss. That's a good line. Well, the good news is my January's now free. Hey, guys, we're still undefeated in the division. And now, the runner-up to things Bengals fans said on Reddit. Yet again, I watched that last drive and had hope. I'm the dog that thinks every car out the window is my owner. But since I'm a Bengals fan, I should realize I was dropped off in an open field and watched the car speed away a long time ago.
Lovely.
And now the winner of things Bengals fans said on Reddit. Well, that was a kick to the There you go.
Short, sweet, to the point.
Sad fans, Bengals edition. Whew.
There was some creativity there.
I love the reply of the face
Dude, the
mask.
face mask.
And then, okay, maybe it wasn't the face mask.
And maybe it wasn't, but still, that's BS, though, right? I mean, come on. Andy Reid and his nuggies eating.
That was great, man.
Cheeseburger, nuggy eaten.
I like the self-hate from time to time.
Yeah.
T. Higgins is going to be a great addition in one of the 6 games he plays this year.
That's self-awareness.
How about
Self-awareness.
Joe Burrow can't close out a tab, let alone a big game. How about that from a Bengals fan?
Wow.
That's rough, man. That is rough.
The
Also-
cheddar bob was great, by the way. That was
Also, I thought
good
it was
pull.
the dog was sad. That was
sad.
that was
that
sad.
was a little emotional.
Yeah, with the dog being left in an open field.
It
so.
does drive home the point, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's some creative people on Reddit. Creative people. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. And when we go to break, oh, you guys got a treat, and we get a treat. You guys got a little sad fans as a treat. We get some Q39 as a treat that they're dropping off right now. Oh, yeah, Championship Barbecue, brand new meal packs. Your choice of meat, the brisket, the pulled pork, the chicken, or the sausage, and it comes with rolls and your choice of sides. You've got size options in groups of 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Up to 20 people in Q39. We'll tell you more about this while we are chowing down on some. Did they bring it in for Matt? If they didn't, they should have.
We're going to go with that.
I like it too. More zone next. What?
I was going to say, call him Meat Derek.
think
Wow.
Q39 is a power ballad of barbecue. Woo.
I hope he likes Warren.
Yeah. I love Warrant, by the way.
Hell
Do
yeah.
you- Is this Warrant?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
No, it's Guns N' Roses.
It does have a GNR
A
sound
little
to it.
bit, it does.
Yes.
And this is like, I mean, most people think Warrant to think,
Cherry pie.
Arresting.
Saw Red.
Getting arrested.
Yeah.
Oh.
Cherry Pie.
Down boys.
Heaven, Down Boys.
Where
This
the
is
down
this
boys
is a very
go.
underrated.
See, Dylan going underrated.
Yeah.
He's going off script a little bit. I appreciate that, Dylan. Matt appreciates that too. And we appreciate Q39. They have their brand new meal packs, size options for groups of 2, 4, 6, 8, up to 20 people. And these meal packs come with your choice of meat, brisket, pulled pork, chicken, or sausage, and also with rolls, your choice of sides. Other new packages include the Q39 rib and wing package and the new Q39 chicken dinner package with the whole smoked chicken sides. Oh, my goodness, dude. And easier now than it ever has been to order these meal packages online. You can pick them up at Midtown and Overland Park locations ready to serve. You can go to Q39.com, pick which location you'd like to pick from, and go get your championship barbecue package and the continually expanding Q39. So there you go. We've got some Q39 in with us today. We got ribs, which you got the burn-ins. You got some mac and cheese. You got some pulled pork over there.
Of course, Sterling already dug into the
Dude,
burn-ins.
well, Sterling.
Not yet. I have not
Okay.
yet.
Oh, not yet. Okay.
But also, like, Sterling won't, wait to, like, where we can all eat together. Sterling's the guy that, like, when Thanksgiving dinner happens, he's the first one through the line, and then he sits down and he just starts eating while everybody else. So then he's on seconds by the time the last person finally gets their food.
I'm efficient.
How,
If you invite Sterling anywhere, he's going to be the first
Yes.
one to eat the food.
that's right.
Well, someone has. Everyone's always embarrassed to be the
Somebody
first
has to
one.
be the first.
Everyone's always embarrassed. Like, I don't want to go first. I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
No,
I'll do
it's women and children.
Might even be before the ceremony, but Sterling's there.
Sterling walks in to the Thanksgiving meal, and it's like, hold on, people, no, women and children. And Sterling, I have a child. I'm making a plate for a child. He's Billy Zane when it comes to food.
He loves
I have a
ribs.
child. I'm making a plate for a child.
He
Then
really
sits down
loves
and just
ribs and burn ends. He
he
loves
just-
burn ends.
sits down and eats it all by himself. Like, I thought you had a child. Yeah,
A food child.
went away.
And
What
I'm
do you want
also
me to
I'm
do?
also just going to say, and this is no I don't want anybody at Q39 to take offense to this because it's just the way it is. But since they do not make swag T-shirts for hefty tall gentlemen, I'm just saying the Q kit with the
perfect pair?
with the seasoning and the sauce, that's going home with me.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
that's-
absolutely is.
yeah.
You are getting a perfect pair.
Yeah,
They-
I'm just it wasn't
Yeah.
even like hey Matt, you can have one of these. I was just taking one.
it wasn't even a
It wasn't even a question.
It's not an option.
It's not. Yeah, it wasn't even a. You got to. Oh, that's nice of you to offer, Jason. This is no. I'm taking one of those.
It's the Q kit, the perfect pair. You get the rub and the sauce kit at Q39, the steak seasoning, which, oh man, I cannot wait.
Which
Cannot
also
wait
I imagine will be
to
very
use that.
great on some salmon too. So.
Dude, I cannot wait to use that. My son asks to eat steak minimum once a week.
It's a good
It's like,
kid.
he's like, oh, what do what do you
Smart
want to
kid.
eat? Steak. He doesn't ask for pizza. Like his first choice is, can we have steak? Yes, we
Red meat.
can.
Okay, you feed him the all meat diet.
Don't
I feel
even-
like, I
don't
feel like
even need a
Dylan would
reason.
do this. I feel like Dylan
No,
would be
like-
the all meat diet guy,
No, Dylan,
like
you vegan?
the
I
carnivore
mean, it's
diet.
like keto, like
You
you kind of just
vegan?
do your best kind
Okay.
of diet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's my diet. Just do your best.
your best.
Whatever you think you feel like eating. Just if
Kind of
you,
close to Atkins,
it's the same thing.
I had
yes.
donuts for breakfast, and now I'm going to have barbecue. So I feel like I'm the pinnacle of health right
You gonna
now.
have some pizza for dinner? No, I'm gonna have leftover barbecue for dinner. What are you talking
leftover-
about? That's what I'm having for dinner.
I'll have Bush
I
Light for
need-
dinner. Okay, it's all part of a
Wow,
balanced
okay,
diet.
you drink your calories. Good for you.
I'm on a seafood diet. I seafood. I eat it.
I love that.
So
I
you-
love that. Sterling said that he was efficient when it comes to eating. How efficient do you think the Chiefs' offense will be this
Brilliant
weekend
segue. Brilliant segue.
against the Falcons? And how efficient do they need to be moving forward without Pacheco? What are they going to look like, man?
Yeah, good question about what they're going to look like. I mean, I don't think they're going to look a whole lot different than they look right now because, Carson Steele is a version of Isaiah Pacheco. I mean,
like
they're not
that,
the
yeah.
same back, but, Andy Reid talks about, sometimes flavors of running backs, and they're kind of the same flavor. And honestly, I mean, you look down the road and with Kareem Hunt Kareem's kind of the same flavor, too, at this point in his career. He was a different back the last time he was in Kansas City, but he's a little bit different now. I mean, he's more of a power back. I mean, I think he's a little bit more Pacheco. Carson Steele even seemed like a little bit of a poor man's Kareem Hunt, maybe a little bit when he got here. So, I don't think they're going to be a whole lot different. I mean, to Sterling's point, it's been a while since they've had a home run back. I really think Damian Williams was probably the last one that you could say was a home run hitter.
Because how many of the backs do the one move against the Vikings and take it, 93 yards for the touchdown? And although we got caught by Tyreek, but that's besides the point. Besides the point.
The only guy that could catch him on the field was Tyreek. That's great. So I mean, they're still not going to have that. They're still not going to have a home run hitter in any of these guys necessarily. But they've got some guys that can pound the football away. And I think that, they've got some guys that also be able to still catch the football.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to have to change a whole lot. I mean, I think they've had to adjust, and they're going to have to continue to adjust more, considering that they built an offense that they planned on having Hollywood be a big part of it. That, to me, is a bigger adjustment than necessarily playing without Pacheco. Because not that, these guys are necessarily just completely plug and play, but you also don't even know what you have in Carson Steele. Maybe you're going to find out you really like what you have in Carson Steele.
It's an interesting point. I want to get into the Hollywood here in a second, but let me ask you this question, and then we'll move on from the Steele conversation. 11.5 is what we put the carries at for Carson Steele. Over-under.
Good number.
For 11.5. He had 7 in the game against the Bengals with Pacheco in the game. But so over-under 11.5.
I am not feeling good about it, but I'm going to go under. If for no other reason than I do think that because of Pacheco being out, I think that the Chiefs are just going to drift more towards the passing game. So I don't know that we're going to see the typical, 65-35 split, especially since we've seen a little bit more of the run game the last couple of weeks. So I think that this could be a game where the pass just gets a little out of hand, that they just decide to throw the football a little bit more. And obviously remember, too, I mean, the short passing game is an extension of the run game in Andy Reid's mind. So they run some screens, they run some quick outs, quick hits, anything like that.
Worthy, McCole Hardman, some end arounds, some jet motions.
Exactly. So I can see them doing a little bit more of that this week, and that eats into a little bit of the running back production.
So you brought up the Hollywood Brown thing, and I think it's an interesting, sort of viewpoint on this offense in the first couple of weeks. How much do you think the offseason and training camp and integrating Hollywood with the offense and Patrick Mahomes and the plays that are there and some game plan, how much are they now adjusting back to not having that guy? And that might be why a little bit of the offense may be stagnant at times, is that the Chiefs are now going back to the no Hollywood Brown and rookie Xavier Worthy as the speed guy to take the top off, not veteran supreme route running Hollywood Brown that can also take the top off.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small sample size so far, so it's not like we've got a great look at it. But and obviously, I mean, Xavier Worthy was incredibly productive against the Ravens. Bengals were alerted to his presence, so they
just run straight.
They did a little bit better job defending him, but we'll see about how that goes going forward. How teams continue to play the Chiefs and try to take that away. It is going to make things more difficult for Xavier. Because you just now, without having Hollywood there, teams are going to be able to pay more attention to him. I still think it's going to be one of those issues that you've just got, that you still have 3 guys on the field, though, that you have to worry about. And I don't know how you worry about all of them. And at this point, teams are continuing to put all of their emphasis on Travis Kelce. So, Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy should be making plays. And honestly, I mean, that game on Sunday against the Bengals would probably have been completely different had Mahomes put at least 6 more inches on the football to Worthy that Cam Taylor-Britt picked off. 6 inches, it's not an interception. 3 yards, and it's probably a touchdown. I mean, Mahomes underthrew it. Yeah. If he had just put a little bit more behind that football, it's a touchdown.
And don't feel like you need to throw the line drive right on a dot like you. It was an unbelievable throw to Rashee Rice, and the Chiefs tweeting out the video from behind of that throw to Rashee Rice was unreal. But he tried to sort of thread that needle again instead of that safety in the middle of the field was not going to make it over there. Like, he was running at an angle to say, well, I'm not going to pick this thing off. I just don't want Xavier Worthy to score a touchdown. That, a little more air, and let Xavier Worthy run to it and just outrun Cam Taylor-Britt.
But when it comes to, we're talking about the Hollywood Brown element of it and how it's, what the Chiefs are having to adjust to that. Remember, they spent the entire offseason with the idea that they're going to have Hollywood Brown. And they built a significant part of the offense. It's not like 50%, don't get me wrong, but they built a lot of this offense around Hollywood Brown. And there's a chunk of the playbook and a chunk of the routes that were designed for his skill set. And even when he got hurt, they still thought we're going to have Hollywood Brown after maybe 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they then spent the next couple of weeks of training camp and the last end of the preseason thinking, let's retool the offense for Hollywood Brown. It's on a dime now that they find out, hey, you're not going to have Hollywood during the regular season. And now it's, you've already done those installs. You've already put together the offense. It's not now that you're just pulling out 120 pages of the playbook or trying to put other stuff in. It's how do you put other guys into that Hollywood role, and how do you take advantage of them, and how do you use them? Because they don't necessarily have anybody that's a strict Hollywood clone. I mean, if you're going to put McColl in, McColl's more of an Xavier Worthy type receiver. And if anything, I mean, Juju would be the guy that you're probably talking about putting into the Hollywood role. But then you're also talking about taking a guy that hasn't been here for a year, wasn't through all the prep, and this wasn't the playbook that he ran the last time. I mean, this isn't, the things that you put in for Hollywood weren't the things that you were running for Juju 2 years ago.
I also wonder how much was there, some of the playbook and plays for Hollywood, how much they were playing off of him and Xavier Worthy in the game at the same time.
Yeah.
So this play is set up for Worthy to do this and Hollywood to do that. Okay, well, if we have McColl doing this, it's not the same. It doesn't have the defense reacting the same. If Juju's running this Hollywood route, it's even less of the same of what those guys playing off each other might have been.
Who becomes the biggest benefactor in your mind? I know you mentioned McColl, you mentioned Juju, Justin Watson. Is it going to be just a rotation of those tertiary
Xavier Worthy, maybe even more?
Yeah, is it going to be more Xavier? Like who's that tertiary guy that steps up in place now of Hollywood?
I mean, that's a really good question. I mean, I think it's going to change. I mean, you certainly expect that Justin Watson's the most logical right now. That's probably the biggest benefactor. Obviously, I mean, I don't think you can say McColl because McColl's not playing, and Sky Moore's not really playing. I mean, if anything, I think in the short term, a little bit of it is that the Chiefs have just gone more, 12 and 13 personnel probably in the absence of Hollywood. I mean, we're just not seeing as many of the, 3 and 4 receiver sets as you might. I think that's probably the biggest impact of it in the short term. Long term, though, I think, who's the best suited? I still go back to Juju as the best suited to play that role, because the Chiefs went in with Xavier Worthy wanting him to play the Z most of the season, and that's what he's generally been playing. You don't now just want to say, okay, well, we're going to take our rookie and change him positions and give him a lot of work at the X. Doesn't really make – he might be your X long term. I mean, that may be the direction that you want to go. Rasheed can play it, but, you get Rasheed in the slot, and you really like how he looks there.
Yeah.
So do you want to move him a lot? But there's no doubt. I mean, I think Rasheed is probably the best suited for it. But short term, Justin Watson's your complementary glue guy that can run any spot. So he's probably the one that you use. But I think that the Chiefs, especially when they bring in Juju, I think that's the indication of like, okay, wait a minute. Here's the guy that's probably best suited. He just needs a few weeks to get up to speed.
Yeah, Justin Watson, looked up the numbers real quick because I knew he had a few receptions, but I remembered it being a little bit longer. So he's got 3 receptions, 1 for 6 yards, 1 for 16, and 1 for 25. So he's had a couple of big plays so far. And if Justin Watson's good for 1 or 2 catches of 15, 16 yards every game, he's done his job.
Yeah.
He's definitely done his job. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue hanging out with Matt Derrick. We'll get his thoughts on Mahomes' ability to play on the road, the freaky numbers of, as it stands right now, home versus road record, and then touchdown, interception. And we'll take a look at the defense getting ready for a pretty good offense with a struggling and underperforming offensive line, but weapons all over the field and a quarterback that may or may not be healthy enough to get him there on time. We'll see. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Matt Derrick from Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast next.
love we went to break and then the line of people just waltzed in here.
Good, because like finally you guys shut up. You're done talking. I can come and get some barbecue here. Q39 with a big drop-off for us to celebrate their brand new meal packs at Q39. The meal packs come with your choice of meat, brisket, pulled pork, chicken, or sausage, and rolls, your choice of sides, size options, groups of 2, 4, 6, and 8, and up to 20 people. So that is at Q39. Other new packages include the Q39 rib and wing package and the new Q39 chicken dinner package with whole smoked chickens and sides. Just go to Q39.com and go and order those meal packages online. You can pick them up. Easier than ever to get your Q39 Midtown and Overland Park locations ready to serve. Q39.com.
These ribs are incredible.
I'm just going to tell you right now, you can't take me anywhere.
What did you spill?
Did you spill it everywhere?
I was trying to sprinkle the cheese on my macaroni there. And
you sprinkled it all over your lap?
Well, I mean, 3/4 of it landed on my plate.
That's good.
A good chunk did land on the floor.
The one time we bring food for Matt Derrick specifically because we feel bad that he's not here for the food drops, and then he does this.
Then he drops the food.
Yeah.
And food drops ends up in a dropped food.
It could be worse. I mean, I could be dropping food really hard. So
no, if you drop brisket or ribs, we're throwing hands.
That is true. It's one thing to drop a little shredded cheese. All right, I need brisket and ribs to go in my belly. All right, Patrick Mahomes, home versus road. At home, his record is 38-11. On the road, his record is 38-11. On the road, he's got 103 touchdowns and 33 interceptions. Was that home or road? So at home, home 103 touchdowns, 33 interceptions. Road 119 touchdowns, 33 interceptions. I don't know that we like this is it's why is this team, let's just ask this just from a philosophical general standpoint, why do you think this team, this group of players, this coaching staff, why are they so efficient and good, as good on the road as they are at home?
Good question. And I mean, one thing, you might even just say is that the Chiefs, if anything, they do underachieve a little bit at home, considering how good that they have been. So I
don't disagree.
One question that's always worth asking. But I mean, on the road, I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, a big part of it is just coaching and leadership. I mean, if you've got a quarterback like Mahomes that is just never phased at anything whatsoever. I mean, and that was exactly what the case was on Sunday. I mean, you're facing 4th and 16, and the guy's Joe Montana cool out there. He's
by the way, what people aren't talking about is if the guy doesn't pass interfere, then Rashee Rice jumps up and probably catches the ball because I don't want to say probably. Decent chance he catches the ball because that was one of his strengths in college was winning jump balls. And
Mahomes had already picked up a 4th and 6.
Yeah, that's right.
So he converts a 4th and 6 and then a 4th and 16.
Yeah.
So, it is a little bit of what he does.
And the previous drive converted a 3rd and 10 to Travis Kelce with the scramble and the almost lateral. And then 3rd and 20, they threw the little quick pass to Rashee Rice.
But you're incredibly fortunate. I mean, you got a quarterback that's not fazed by anything of that nature. He's got a couple of playmakers around him that aren't fazed by any of that. You've got a defense that can create opportunities and, has done that plenty of times, come up with the big stops when they need to. You've got Andy Reid that's just, and that's why I go back to, once again, all the criticism that Andy Reid faced at different points in his career and everything. And, I could be described maybe as a little bit of an Andy Reid apologist. But, that game like in New England with Alex Smith, everybody was like, didn't go down the field far enough.
Yeah.
Well, that was more about the quarterback not pushing the ball down the field. You got the quarterback that's going to push the ball down the field. You see that Andy Reid's a pretty good coach, pretty good time manager. So that's not the problem. And then you got a kicker that's clutch. So doesn't miss kicks on the road. So all those things help.
So what do you think happens on Sunday? Do you have a feel for the game and then a score in mind?
Yeah, I'm not going to take the Chiefs to blow anybody out until they actually blow somebody out.
Agreed.
So that's just not in their DNA right now. They're still figuring some things out, but the matchups on this one favor the Chiefs so much. They should be able to dominate inside on the line on both sides of the football. I'm still going to go with a close game. Chiefs 27, Falcons 20.
27-20. We'll see what ends up happening. Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest, 41 is the Mike podcast. Matt, you are the man, sir.
And now I have to clean up after myself.
Don't worry about it. cuts before the show is over. Right now, let's talk to Kendall Gammon. Presented by Crown Toyota, Crown Volkswagen, recognized as the number one place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Visit crownautomotive.com to see the latest deals. Experience the Crown difference. Kendall, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Sorry I didn't come in, but all the same, good to hear your voice.
Well, I'll tell you what, you should be sorry because we are sitting here right now with an entire sort of buffet style of Q39 right in front of us. We got the brisket, we got the pulled pork, we got ribs right there, we got some corn, we got mac and cheese, we got the potato salad. We've got that right here in front of us, and you're on the phone, so you should be sorry you're not with us.
Please tell me you're kidding.
Nope. No, I'll send you a picture. Don't worry.
No.
I'll send you a picture of that, So, Dylan.
Always the bridesmaid.
Dylan.
God. Well.
What were you going to say, Sterling?
I was going to say, I can send you a lot of pictures, Kendall.
Oh, yeah. We'll just send you
Kendall,
pictures.
I'll send you a lot. Not Brett Favre style, of course, but like just the barbecue style.
Well,
there we go.
It might be the same thing. That's sort of a man's version of that, just all of this.
We'll send you some meat. We'll send you pictures of meat.
He's going to send you the picture of the meat that's right in front of him. And it's going to be on your phone, whether you like it or not, Kendall. And this is what we're enjoying. So we do miss you being here. And you probably don't miss being here except for the barbecue that we are enjoying right now, a little Q39, because they've got their meal packs, brand new meal packs with size options of groups 2, 4, 6, 8, all the way up to 20. You choose your choice of meat. Brisket, pulled pork, chicken, or sausage comes with rolls and your choice of sides. It is at Q39. Go to Q39.com. Kendall, what do you got going on today, man? You speaking? You inspiring people? I know that typically when you're not here in studio, you're either out inspiring people or getting ready to watch some gorillas play football.
Well, there you go. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was speaking down at the Intercontinental to the National Steel Pipe Distributors Association. So did that and just got a little crazy on my time constraints and everything. And then after this, I'll head out to War Horses. So it's a full day.
There you go.
Even without Q39, which is where I take people when they come in town first.
See, there you go. You know what, Kendall? If it's on your way, slide on in here and get you some Q39 on your way to War Horses. If it is. We love you. We love you that much that we will
my
allow
goodness.
to stop in and grab some food with us because you're typically here on a Friday anyway. Kendall Gammon is our guest. All right, Kendall, getting people's assessment of the Bengals game before we move on to this Falcons matchup this weekend. This is one of those, man, I there's a lot of people that maybe, read it wrong or just got, caught up in week one reactions or maybe overreactions and seeing the only data point we have of how Joe Burrow was playing and what the Bengals looked like and Jamar Chase barely practicing and T. Higgins not playing. But it just seems like the script is going to be when these two teams play, Chiefs and Bengals, whenever that may be again, whether that is in, January of 2025 or next fall of 2025. Whenever they end up playing, it's going to be some sort of similar script that we've seen when these two teams have matched up.
Yeah, you're right. I fell into that trap as well. I mean, looking at what the Bengals did the first week of the season, of course, the Chiefs as well, which theirs could have gone either way. I know we talked about that. So I need to pay a little more attention to the line that Vegas puts out there and not go 10 points over that because there's a reason for them having those lines. So, yeah, it's tough, and I think you're right. I was surprised at how Burrow played. I personally didn't think he pushed the ball down the field that much until the fourth quarter. So I wasn't completely enamored with him, but he played well, and obviously his numbers showed that. And when you look at the numbers, he did outplay Patrick, but when it comes down to all you care about is the points. But, I think this is a Chiefs team that's still trying to find themselves a little bit because you hear it every day, and it's the truth. They're 2-0 now, and they could be 0-2.
Yeah, and you never apologize for a win in the NFL
Right.
because I bet the Bengals and Ravens would love to be 2-0 while talking about what's going on and what's wrong and how much better they can get and the lack of efficiency and things like that. You'd love to be 2-0 talking about how you can fix those mistakes instead of being 0-2, 1-1, and looking at some of the historical trends of, the last team that was 0-2 and did this. And if a team goes 0-3 and making
Right.
the playoffs becomes this much more tougher to get into the postseason, you don't have to worry about those things and those historical trends when you start 2-0. But it has been a struggle for this team in these two games. If you're guessing now, and again, this is where we've got 2 weeks of data. That's it. And we've got two teams that are 0-2. Ravens then lost to the Raiders at home, and we know that the Bengals lost to the Patriots at home. But if you are looking at your crystal ball at the end of the season, are we going to view these 2 weeks as, man, they won 2 games against some pretty good teams that early on in the season we were wondering about things that were going on with the Chiefs, when in reality, if they would have played in December, you walk away with that one and go, hell yeah, you won the game? Or maybe we watching the Ravens and Bengals, struggle this year to try to figure some things out and become a consistent team that, one of these teams, maybe the 2 or 3 or 4 seed in the playoffs?
You know what? I think it's the latter. I think both the teams are struggling a little bit. I mean, I know they played better in week 2, but talking about the Bengals, but in general, I mean, I'm just not sold on the Bengals, and I'm sure I should be, but I'm not. And I think when we get to the end of the season, we're going to see that they both, I think, will still get into the playoffs. And we're going to say, okay, we beat some pretty good teams, because eventually we're going to double-digit a few teams, I think. We're going to figure some things out. We're going to get healthy, talking about the Chiefs, of course. But, it's tough. It's tough to win in this league like you talked about. It's tough to continue to win year in, year out, which makes everything that the Chiefs have done and continue to do all the more impressive.
Visiting with Kendall Gammon, is there a psychological advantage that the Chiefs have over some teams in that, whether it's they find ways to win or, they've got a psychological advantage over the refs because they find ways to draw penalties and the refs bail them out? Is there anything to that late in games from a player's perspective, or is, these games largely in a vacuum, independent of other games in how a play fell or the way the football bounced one way or another?
I don't think anything comes to mind for that when you're talking about the referees and how they're calling games and everything, because quite honestly, I thought it was a pretty well-called game. Really, I thought there was one pretty egregious defensive pass interference call missed on Cincinnati that could have had a big effect. But in general, I think from the player's standpoint, yeah, I mean, you're aware of it when you're playing teams that are good year in, year out, and are the Super Bowl team. And I think the egos are enough at this level that it doesn't affect you that much. But I wouldn't discount it entirely.
Visiting with Kendall Gammon, he is our guest here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I asked Matt Derrick in the previous segment about home versus road, and how good this Chiefs team is on the road, which is why. Last year a lot of people were talking about when, nationally it was like, oh, well, wait till the Chiefs have to go on the road. Wait till Patrick Mahomes has to leave Arrowhead to go and play in the playoffs. And many people locally would reply and go, well, they're pretty damn good on the road. I mean, it's just what they do. And the numbers, I brought these up, about 20 minutes ago or so, but I'll bring them up again. Home and road, Patrick Mahomes' record is 38-11 at home and 38-11 on the road. He's got 103 touchdowns at home and 119 touchdowns on the road. He's got 33 interceptions at home and 33 interceptions on the road. You've played this game. It's not easy to go to somebody else's house and win. Anything you can point to from a player's perspective as to how this team has been as successful as they have been away from Arrowhead?
I think it's leadership. It's Big Red. Andy Reid, the head coach for the Chiefs, what he does and how he gets them ready, I think that's huge. I think it reminds me quite a bit of Bill Cowher and how he was, and just the type of leadership. And, really, when you go on the road, oftentimes it's just a lot easier to concentrate because it is, you hear it all the time, it is a business trip and you don't have as many distractions and things that you have to deal with at home. So it can be easier from that standpoint. You mentioned a lot of those records. I think the one, I forget how many wins it is, but I believe also that Patrick Mahomes has only lost one game inside of a dome as well, which I think is worth mentioning. Now, that being said, he's won most of the damn games that he's played anyhow, but I do think that's an interesting aspect to it.
Yeah, he hasn't lost many games outside of a dome either.
Exactly, right.
That's funny. But I did not know that stat about what he did in a dome. They got a dome. I didn't know that there was that stat that was out there, but I love it though. It's like
a dome.
What was that, Dylan?
They got a dome.
Yeah, they do. They got a dome this weekend, visiting with Kendall Gammon. And I also, Andy Reid had said, he's like, well, he was asked about why they have success on the road, and he said, doggone it, Herbie, something else maybe, I don't know. And he said, it's they do the same thing maybe. He's like, we've got our meetings set. We got our, times we go to the stadium and everything set. It's sort of the same thing we do week in and week out, or road trip in and road trip out. And it, that makes sense. But I also wonder, like, how often do teams change that? Like, is that something that, rotates and things get changed? Or is Andy maybe, more closer to being on an island that those things don't deviate, that this is when we meet, this is when we leave, this is what we do, this is the time that we leave, everything is going to be the same. And so there's an expected level and a comfort almost to it, no matter which city you're in.
Yeah, I think that's right, because the day before he always makes sure in general that the buses arrive at the hotel at 4:00, and then everything's the same from there, 4:00 local time, obviously, and then everything's the same from there. So you try to get the players back into the routine as quick as possible so it feels as normal as possible. Now, that being said, the fact that the Chiefs are playing so many different days this year and at so many different times.
Right.
Obviously this week also with the Sunday night game is a little bit different, and you deal with it. And nothing that I preferred less than night games and having to wait the whole time with everything going on. But that being said, you try to keep the schedule as normal as possible. I think that has a lot to do with it. I think the fact that the Chiefs have just a really darn good team and darn good leadership has the most to do with it.
Kendall Gammon is our guest right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, presented by Crown Toyota and Crown Volkswagen. Let's talk about Kingsley. And in that game on Sunday against the Bengals, eventually got pulled for the final series of the game for the Chiefs. And Wanya Morris came in. Well, actually got pulled before the 3rd down and 20 in the second to last series of the game, when Wanya Morris came in after Kingsley Suamataia had the holding call after that scramble by Mahomes and Travis Kelce catch and run. What did you see from Kingsley? Is this the guy's confidence was shot at that point and they just had to get him out of the game? Was it a technique issue? Was it a a blocking or assignment the way that he should have been? How do you view and what you were seeing from former offensive lineman and from afar watching what Kingsley was doing as to why he got pulled?
Well, I think after things didn't go well more than a couple times, you can start to get in your head a little bit about it, especially when you're rookie. I want to say also the guy he was going against, didn't he have like 17 sacks last year or something? I mean, he was going against a pretty good player and not a lot of help being given as well. So I think at some point in time, I'm going to guess, I don't know this, but I've seen it. When guys are having bad games and things like that, you can just look at them on the sideline and you can see that they're shell shocked a little bit, and it's really in their head. And I've got to believe that maybe they saw a little bit of that and said, okay, we need to move on here a little bit, because what didn't he give up a couple sacks, a couple pressures, and some things of that nature? I forget what it was specifically, but to the degree that it's like, okay, this has not been a good game, and what I'm seeing from him and his body language and his eyes and everything tells me that maybe we need to move him along a little bit for the rest of the game, and that's obviously what they did.
How difficult is it to change a game plan or a blocking assignment where, hey, this is the play we're going to run, but now on this play, as opposed to what we've practiced, we're going to keep this running back in to help chip on this particular tackle? Or, the running back just chips without the left tackle knowing he's going to do that. We had Kent Swanson on yesterday from KC Sports Network, and in their postgame, they had Jeff Schwartz on, and they were talking about that. And Jeff Schwartz was like, look, man, there's a difference between if you're blocking and you're getting chip help or not. That much I think we all can agree on. But he also talked about, like, sometimes the difficulty of just simply changing it within game or changing it from play to play if that's happening. Because it looked like the last two plays that he was in on for Kingsley Suamataia, it looked like both of those plays he was supposed to or could have had chip help, or at least there was going to be the simulation to simulate help that was going to come. But on the sack on 2nd down and 6, it looked like Kingsley overcommitted to the outside. and then Trey Hendrickson just speed to power, pushes him out of the way and then takes that short, route to Mahomes for a 4-yard loss on a sack. And then the next one, I think it was Pacheco, just goes out of his way to avoid Trey Hendrickson running around the edge. And Kingsley Suamataia was trying to catch up, and it looked like Pacheco was like, oh, whoa, I almost hit Trey Hendrickson there. Let me get out of the way. And it ended up being a holding call. Should there have been help? Was there supposed to be help? Is it one of those things to where they haven't practiced, so therefore we're not just going to start doing it randomly in the game? How do you assess those things where both plays it looked like there was supposed to be some sort of help, and neither of those plays resulted in that?
Well, I'll go back a little bit and address the first thing, which is when he overset and got beat to the inside. That's something where you're never going to have, or you're rarely, if ever, going to have a running back chip on the inside. If you're going to chip, it's going to be from the outside. So if that's the case, then you're going to set where you're going to protect your inside, and then the outside help's coming. And if it doesn't come and you're expecting it, then that's a problem as well. And if it doesn't come and you're expecting it, then you better hold, because that's the better option as opposed to letting your QB get thumped. But I think in the midst of a game, these guys have practiced chipping and dealing with different things. So it's not unheard of to change it up if things are going bad. I believe that for sure. That being said, there's got to be communication, because as I mentioned, if you're expecting a chip and it doesn't come, and quite honestly, if you're not expecting a chip and you do get it, they can knock the guy off to the inside, and now all of a sudden you've got another problem. So the big thing is there has to be communication.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it was a little surprising at the lack thereof late in that game of help with Kingsley, because even on that sack that they gave up on 2nd down and 6, if I remember right, if that was the play, they had Joe Tooney and Creed Humphrey double teaming Sheldon Rankins on the inside, and they had Kingsley one-on-one with Trey Hendrickson. I would take my chances, I guess, with sliding Joe Tooney over to help out with Trey Hendrickson and Kingsley, so therefore Kingsley can overcommit to the outside, and then Trey can cover the inside Tooney can cover the inside if Trey Hendrickson wants to come back down on the inside, and boom, you got to worry about Joe Tooney, and leave the highest paid center in the NFL and one of the better pass blocking centers in the NFL, maybe one-on-one against Sheldon Rankins. Just a couple of those things sort of stood out that were head scratching as to just leaving Kingsley out there on his own when he was just getting manhandled by Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, and I think, and obviously this, but obviously the offensive line is responsible for the 4 bigs and Mike, and everything's predicated off the Mike. And I've got to believe potentially that they out-schemed them somehow, and they knew what they needed to do and how they needed to do it, and because of that, they just may have managed to catch Kansas City off guard on something to where their rules and caveats said that they did a certain thing. Because what you talked about, I think if you asked any of the coaches, they would say, yeah, that's exactly what we should be doing. I just think that there was some scheming that went on.
Yeah. What do you think of this matchup then? You got Kirk Cousins, who in week 1 didn't look all that mobile or all that good, and in week 2 looked a little bit better. They have some weapons. Bijan Robinson is one of the more explosive backs. Kyle Pitts has been talked about as one of the best tight ends that's eventually going to explode and have a great year in the NFL. And he's had some really good years. But he also, whether he's putting up numbers or not, he's somebody you got to worry about. Drake London is a good receiver, big receiver as well. And this Chiefs defense that's been giving up a lot of yards to tight ends, but that's the defensive side versus their offense. What do you think of this matchup for the Chiefs this weekend against the Falcons?
I think the things you brought up are the big things, which is your medium area passing routes, which is kind of your swing routes with Bijan, because he's great catching the ball out of the backfield as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he have 60-something catches last year and did a pretty good job? And then you talked about Pitts also, and I think that's an issue that the Chiefs defense has had for years, and really the NFL in general. I think the tight end position and the mismatches you can get with good tight ends is the one thing that's still hard to guard in the NFL, and the medium area, not the long area. And I think that's what has to happen for Kansas City, is they've got to control those two sides of it. I feel pretty good about the defensive backs in terms of what they're doing. And then it comes down to the fact of tackling in the open field, which I think the Chiefs are above average at. They've had some misses, but I think in general they do a pretty good job. And when you talk about Kirk Cousins, he moved better last week than he did the week before. You can still see some rust, and there's still some issues. And I've got to believe he's still not completely 100% mental on that Achilles and everything going on. So it'll be interesting to see if Spagnuolo dials some stuff up early to see what he can and cannot handle.
Coming up a half hour from now, we'll hear from Andy Reid on a Fast Friday. He'll be asked about who starts at left tackle, whether that be Kingsley or Wanya Morris. He was non-committal on Monday, non-committal Wednesday. Matt Nagy yesterday said, we'll continue talking about that. Who do you think runs out there and starts the game at left tackle for the Chiefs?
It would be a lot easier, not because I would have seen them playing. It would have been a lot easier if I could have just saw how both practiced this week. They both got reps, and they probably both did. But for some reason, I just feel like Kingsley, you're going to run him back out there and chalk this up to a rookie and getting shocked a little bit. And maybe you have some things in your back pocket to take care of things a little bit better than you did last week. But in my mind, I feel like he's the one because I think they see the ceiling with him being higher.
All right. Do you have a score in mind for what you think may happen Sunday night?
Yep, I've been all day with it. I'm just going to go 24-23 Chiefs.
24-23 Chiefs. There has been certainly a change around the area of I think the Chiefs are going to win, but it's going to be closer because damn it, it's what they do, and I'm not just going to buy into they're going to dominate some teams. I think everybody is moving in that direction, which Kendall obviously means they win by 21 points on Sunday night.
Exactly. As Matt said, I'm not going to pick them by double digits until they beat somebody by double digits.
We'll see if that is this weekend. Kendall, you are the man. Appreciate it, sir. Enjoy the football, and we will talk next Friday, brother.
Sounds good. Take care, gents.
All right, there's Kendall Gammon joining us here in the zone. He is presented by Crown Toyota and Crown Volkswagen, recognized as the #1 place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Visit crownautomotive.com to see the latest deals. Experience the Crown difference. We are experiencing the Q39 difference because they have dropped off these brand new meal packs that they have out there and available. And, serving and eating that championship barbecue has never been easier. The meal packs come with your choice of meat. It's brisket, pulled pork, chicken, or sausage, and you get rolls and your choice of sides. The size options for the groups of 2, 4, 6, 8, and on up to 20 people. And you can check that out, Q39.com, and pick whichever location you'd like to pick up from and get that championship barbecue brand new meal pack. They also have the other new packages, including the Q39 rib and wing package and the new Q39 chicken dinner package with whole smoked chickens and sides. It is at Q39. We take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. We will hang out with Mick Schaefer. That's coming up next. All right, folks, wanted to tell you about my friends.
Okay.
Explain what they
The-
are.
the owner
Here's your
Chop off
brisket. Cut off the end of the brisket.
The point.
All right. Now
Yeah.
go and season them some more. Now put them back in and smoke them for another hour.
The owner then came back because he saw I was from Kansas City and goes, "Oh no, we can do burn ends. We can do burn ends."
cool.
And he proceeded to give me just brisket.
No,
That was what. So they didn't know what they were doing, and so that's my my affiliate, and that's why I'm so glad I live in Kansas City. Because imagine living in Cincinnati right now. What are the midday shows getting? Skyline chili, like midday shows here. We get great barbecue.
Yeah, that's one I don't get.
That'd be rough. Yeah, that would. You know what? That'd be one of those to where you'd have to be like, "Oh, hey, this is so good. You gotta try."
What a horrible food to be
this
known for. Soupy,
here."
stringy chili. That's what you're known for.
Yeah, we get Q39 for our like food drops for radio, and they get stringy, soupy chili.
It's a meat pool for rats. I mean, that's on that's on spaghetti. That's what it is.
I was happy.
And they put cheese on top of it.
For Aaron Ladd left. He went back to Atlanta. His last day was Sunday. So going
Did he
away.
just ride with the Chiefs there? Can he
did-
just catch a flight
and the
with them?
Royals, right? In
Yes.
about a week and a half. I guess a week. They'll
Yeah,
be there
that's
to
right.
finish
Next
out the
week.
season with hopefully some games that matter.
Hopefully
Actually, hopefully
they
they
don't
don't matter by
I hope
then.
they don't matter.
But I
don't think they're gonna matter.
They're going to have to matter.
I don't think they're going to matter for the Braves.
Yes.
But I think they'll matter.
They will
to a
matter
degree
for the Royals.
For the Royals, yeah.
Here's the problem: whenever the number of games left surpasses or gets lower than your magic number, you no longer control your own destiny.
Yeah.
The Royals are very close to that. But anyway, I have no idea what I was saying. No, I got Aaron. He's a big barbecue guy, so I got him one of the Ted Lasso shirts that have
Yes.
the big four, but the new one has on like a pig, and on the ear it's got Q39
Nice.
on it. So
I love that. Yeah,
they added a fifth one to that shirt. Yeah.
As they should. It's one of my favorite shirts. I love, by the way, a shout out to Sudeikis. That's always repping Kansas City and all the different things that he does. It's so great when you got somebody that, is as proud and loves the city and is repping
Yes.
Royals, Chiefs, barbecue, on all the different TV shows and movies that he's on. I love it. Because it was in We Are the Millers.
Yep.
He had worn a Kansas City barbecue shirt in We Are the Millers movie as well.
He's a huge barbecue guy. Him and Paul Rudd and all those guys for the Big Slick. They did his little after party thing, and they get every single barbecue spot. Q39 was there too, and they bring in all these spots for the late night after party, and you can just whatever you want, and they're just out there just stuffing their faces with Q39 and all the other classics
Yes.
right there. There was probably 12 different barbecue spots that were there. Travis Kelce was there going by and just piling up his plate with all these different barbecue restaurants. It was just like they actually love the food. It's incredible.
My brother and his friends started a tradition a long time ago that now I get to partake in and being back home, but it's called Ribs Giving. So every Saturday after Thanksgiving, they have a big get together. With college football going on and everything, and everybody brings a slab of rib from a different restaurant. So therefore, all of these ribs are right there. If you want to taste test and try all the different ribs, it's Ribs Giving, man. You get, all right, I got this from that, I got this from that. People smoke their own ribs, like, hey, try this. Like, all right, you better come.
That's awesome.
You better come correct if you're going to smoke your own ribs when everybody's bringing ribs from all of the Kansas City restaurants. But man, it's such an awesome day when you got the Ribs Giving, baby.
Ribs Giving. That's up there with the fake Christmas holiday from Seinfeld.
That's exactly right. Festivus for the rest of us. Festivus for the rest of us. Yeah, only it's not airing of the grievances; it's eating of the meat. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Eating
of the greases.
I like the It's Always Sunny squashing the beef for Thanksgiving. Wiping the slate clean, where they get just a slate and they wipe it clean. They squash the beef. They get some beef and just squash it.
We're ready to go and move forward. All right, we will take a timeout. We'll come back. Andy Reid, we're going to hear from him coming up at 1 o'clock. Fast Friday with Andy. And you know what? It was such a fun one. Mick hasn't heard it. Let's do Sad Fans again next. Hell yeah.
I love it.
Hey everyone, get into Greenlight Dispensary before the month is over because this September they're giving away a bunch of different deals.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Andy Reid at 1 o'clock. We got cuts before the show is over. We'll tell you who is lighting it up. And Mick Schaefer is with us as well. KSHB 41 Sports Director. We're enjoying some Q39 here in the studio still because they've got their meal packs that they've got, the brand new meal packs with your choice of meat, the brisket, pulled pork, chicken, or sausage. You get the rolls. You get your choice of sides. Q39.com, where you can go and check out all of these different meal packs and size options for groups anywhere from 2 up to 20 different people. Q39.com. Awesome stuff. All right, so Andy Reid coming up at 1 o'clock, and it looks like we'll probably just hear from Andy Reid. At
Nobody else?
At the podium, it just on the whiteboard just says Andy Reid.
Okay.
At the podium. Usually at this point, they would have Andy Reid and then another player if there was another player. But there was not, so
It's going to be a faster
it's
Friday.
going to be a real fast Friday. The fastest Friday.
They should have either Kingsley or Wanye at the either one.
Both at the same time.
I bet they parade them out, and they'll be like, here's the big reveal. Here's who's starting.
It's like a
And
boxing
whoever
match.
it is walks up and asks questions.
No, I think what
They ask the questions.
They ask the
yeah.
question.
No, what it should be
Whoever
is
it isn't asks the questions
Yeah.
to the guy who it is.
No, what it is so Kingsley walks in. Kingsley, what do you think happened last week? Well, it's just one of those things where I got to go. Excuse me, Kingsley. Wanya's now going to answer that question. Sorry, can you step down? Wanya,
pulls
can
him
you
in the middle of
continue
the
to
answer.
We need you to pick up right where Kingsley left off on that answer. Thank you.
I would love it if it was like a boxing match, and they just look, and then in this corner, and then they
Go
they raise up
toe
one
to
of the
toe
hands.
or
They raise
nose to nose.
Yeah.
They raise one hand
see.
at the very end.
I thought you meant like the weigh-in. The weigh-in at the beginning, they're
that'd be
going
good
nose
too,
to
yeah.
nose, getting ready for who's going to start. But yeah, I like the end when they raise the hand.
Yeah, like a boxing
And
match. yeah.
still starting at left tackle, Kingsley Suamataya.
They have all 53 guys there standing up bachelor
By
style.
way.
And they have 22 roses to give to the starters.
Samoa.
Wait, is this the
By way
activation
of
zone?
BYU.
The activation zone, they give 22 roses to the starters, and it's down to the very last rows, and you have Wanye and Kingsley still standing there.
And then Andy Heck. And
Guys, this is
Chris
the
Harrison walks in. Kingsley, Wanya,
last rose.
final rose. Andy, whenever you're ready.
Now, man, I think you're both great guys.
Kingsley, still say your goodbyes.
Yeah, Kingsley, that takes some time. Say your goodbyes. Thank you. Bengals fans said their goodbyes to the Chiefs on Sunday, but they also said their hellos during the game on Reddit. So with Mick in here with
go.
us, you know what? Let's play
Encore
it. Damn it!
performance.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Here's sad fans from Reddit, Bengals edition, baby. And now things Bengals fans said on Reddit. Now we all get mixed reactions. These Chiefs are way more annoying than the Pats were. It's the insane luck, the constant love from the commentators, the constant Taylor Swift reactions, and the constant cuts to KC players who barely did in the game, all shouting and chanting like they just solved world hunger. If they gave out Grammys for wasting timeouts in the first and third quarter, Zach Taylor would be Taylor Swift. Also, Taylor Swift. Romo's doctor doesn't prescribe Viagra. He just has him watch videos of Mahomes throwing a football.
That's pretty good.
It's true. Hey, guys, T. Higgins is going to be a great addition when he plays one of his 6 games this year. All right, guys, going to go give myself alcohol poisoning now. It's perfect that Joe Burrow's hair looks like Eminem since this damn team keeps shooting themselves like Cheddar Bob.
I don't get that reference.
You know, I heard the refs even bailed out that Chiefs fan bank robber dude.
Everybody.
All right, guys, good half. Adjustments for the second half? Have the refs call offensive holding. Tony Romo's morning routine. 1, 2, shower. 3, shave. 4, stare at a naked picture of Mahomes. It's a weird routine. I mean, I'd love for CBS
consistent,
to actually show a replay of why Jamar was mad, an obvious face mask, but they're not going to show it. Reply, easy, it was a face mask. Reply, face mask. I mean, this is absurd. Reply, he was pulled down by his face mask. Reply, they're not going to show it. They don't want to show that the Chiefs got away with one. Reply, Jamar's never this mad if nothing happened. Reply, he was pulled down by his face mask. Reply, maybe it wasn't the face mask. Only a Chiefs game would someone get called for a technical foul. I mean, you can't make this shit up. I don't know, but the vibes are weird all over the place in this game. Arrowhead seems dead, and Jamar just tried to stab a ref. Great, another injury to our defensive line. We're about to get into create-a-player mode. Kansas City, Taylor Swift, Andy Reid's old cheeseburger and nuggy-eating ass, the official crew, Kermit the Frog, come on. The end.
There's one of those guys in every fan base.
Tony Romo can eat an entire bag of Reply, he would if the bag was labeled Mahomes. The Chiefs' left tackle won't hold his baby as much as he's holding Trey today. Holy shit, guys, they're calling KC for holding. The pearly gates are opening up, hell is freezing over, and I have a happy marriage. I don't think he does. This game should have been ours a long time ago, and we're probably about to fold. That's the difference that separates us from being great. Joe Burrow can't close out a tab, let alone a big game. The Chiefs are now in. Refs will figure out a way to give them the game range. No way they miss. I like that one. Well, the good news is my January's now free. Hey, guys, we're still undefeated in the division. And now, the runner-up to things Bengals fans said on Reddit. Yet again, I watched that last drive and had hope. I'm the dog that thinks every car out the window is my owner. But since I'm a Bengals fan, I should realize I was dropped off in an open field and watched the car speed away a long time ago. And now the winner of things Bengals fans said on Reddit. Well, that was a kick to the There you go.
They never got to the PI at the end of the game.
Oh, it was all about the refs, man. All it was the refs. Oh, the refs. Of course, there's the refs. There's the refs. There wasn't anything clever with the refs at the end. I'm like, well, I can't just go off there blaming the refs.
Where was he kicked in? All there was a bleep.
The toe.
Oh,
well, that's a kick to the toe.
That hurts, by the way.
Yeah, kicking somebody in the toe.
Man,
it's a kick right to the mommy and daddy button, right there. That's a kick to the,
especially to the balls of the feet.
Yes.
You ever been kicked there to the balls?
Right.
Of the feet?
You ever have those pants on? You're like, get kicked right in your dickies? Those pants?
Yeah.
They also have shirts, too. It was a popular brand. Is it still popular? Are Dickies brands popular?
They are in my house.
Yeah. So, Sterling, you ever own a pair?
Oh, I've had a pair of Dickies, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if they were still popular or not. So, Andy Reid and his Nuggies next.
Big Dickies guy.
look forward to the challenge of playing the Falcons. A really good football team, well coached, and they've got talent down there. And we just saw that Monday night. They played their hearts out. So we look forward again to that challenge of playing a real good and well coached football team. So with that, time's yours.
What will that maybe look like at the left tackle? I know maybe you'd like to have one guy do it more. Does it matter who starts?
We'll see how it goes, just as we roll.
You liked how those guys have both responded this week?
I'm both ready to go. Yep.
How did Kareem look in the first couple of days you've had?
You know what? He did good. He looked like he's decent shape. Now listen, he's got to have an opportunity to play. He can play a football game somewhere. So to tell you the rest, but he he came in good shape. So that's a plus there.
You think it'll be much longer before he's back in what you call football shape?
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes next week, and see where he's at. He got a lot of reps this week with a scout team, so that was good for him to get in there and run around and kind of get back into the football part of it.
Similar theme all week, just confidence level in Carson after a week of maybe having somewhat of a lead role.
Yeah, no, Carson doesn't say much. He just kind of goes in and does his thing and goes 100 miles an hour every play. So that's what he did this week and did a nice job with that.
Andy, I can't recall really the time you rotated left tackles. How'd you land at that being a good solution?
Just like a lawyer. That was good. That was a good try. Listen, there's always something new for you.
Any characteristics with Atlanta's defense? I know they have a new coordinator this year, but Reed's been around there for a while. What kind of challenges do they provide for you guys?
The offensive side, you're saying?
Yeah, but their defense.
Yeah,
going up against them.
yeah, their defense. They've got some experienced players there. Obviously, their head coach is a phenomenal defensive coordinator, and likewise with their defense coordinator. So both of them rotate that thing up and give you different looks. And the players have bought into what they're teaching, and they play hard. They've got the senior leadership there, especially on the back end. So it looks like they're communicating real well.
Andy, what's unique about being able to play on Sunday Night Football in prime time like that?
Yeah, normally you're the only game going, so that's a positive. I'm not sure anybody likes to play at night, but it's and wait all that time. But it's always exciting when you get there, and that's a great venue there. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, good. Thank you. Yep.
That was a less Fast Friday. That was more of an extended Friday for Andy Reid on a Fast Friday. Kareem Hunt will not play this weekend. I don't think many people, if any, expected him to play this weekend, even though Andy said, there's a chance, that he can play. There's always a chance, he could play, but he is not going to play this weekend. They will keep him down. I mean, they're going to keep – why are you keeping that man down? I mean, come on, let him fly. He's like a peacock. You got to let him fly, man. So they will keep Kareem down on the practice squad.
The Chiefs have had a guy in street clothes land a block this season already.
And then they cut him.
Big old shove. They brought him back.
I know, they brought him back. Proved there, showed him, taught him a lesson. Both left tackles will get the opportunity to play in this game.
Is one going to come in on passing downs, one on running downs?
Andy said, we'll see. Andy,
they're just going to jog the plays in and out.
Todd Lebo said, what will it look like? Andy said, we'll see.
In fairness, we did see both of them last week on the same play, too.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a great point. So
maybe he's just saying that Wanya is now a tight end.
Yeah, both of them, even if Wanya didn't replace Kingsley, both those tackles got an opportunity to play, as Andy Reid said. I didn't quite make out what Sam McDell's question was, but Andy answered it by going, nice lawyer there.
He said, I can't remember the last time you rotated offensive linemen. How did you land on that decision? I guess just another asking the same question that had been asked in a different way.
But I mean, I think that's a different question, though. You know what I mean? If it was, I don't know, try to find a different way. Like, Andy, I know you're going to rotate, but is it important for one guy to get more reps than? How important is it that Kingsley sort of said? Has Kingsley responded well between? Is it more mental or? I don't know, different ways, but they tried. They tried to ask, and Andy just kept saying, we'll see. Just vague. We'll see. Yep, defense, pretty good. Well-coached defense. Sunday night, you're typically the only game on TV at that time, which is true.
It's true.
Monday night, there are 2 games this week. I just found that out an hour ago.
Are there?
When Sterling told me there were 2 games this week.
Got some West Coast action.
Yeah,
that second game.
Some action.
Some action.
I think they're both East Coast because it's Bengals and Commanders, and then Jaguars Bills. So they start 45 minutes apart.
Oh, so they're not
Jags and Bills.
There's a lot of overlap there.
Jags and Bills on ESPN at 6:30. Commanders Bengals ABC 7:15. So dual TVs
dumb.
for Monday Night Football. So yeah, and the Chiefs hopefully taking care of the Atlanta Falcons. But
Will they be adding like 2 more Mannings for two Manning casts?
Archie
and Arch. Yeah.
The Arch Manning cast. Just him and Sarkisian.
Yeah.
They just hang out and they talk about Texas football while the game is going on. They just have different Texas. Ricky Williams will be on the show. Roy Williams, not that Roy Williams, the receiver Roy Williams, maybe even the defensive back Roy Williams. I don't know. A lot of Roy Williams there.
So many
Roy Williams. Jonathan Brooks, he's not doing anything right now, so he could be on that. Bijan Robinson, he'll be done playing from the night before. He can be on that as well. But yeah, so 2 games on Monday night. That is interesting. But also, as it relates to the Chiefs, reaction to both left tackles are going to get an opportunity to play. Here's how I interpret that. Both the left tackles will get an opportunity to play, but I don't know that necessarily means for a fact both of them will be there. It leaves it open. It leaves some vague sort of a gray area that whoever
he had the
starts,
opportunity. If Kingsley would have struggled, Wanya had the opportunity to play.
If Wanya goes in and starts and plays awesome, Kingsley's opportunity to play was lost in the game. When the game going into the game, he's got an opportunity to play. It just depends on what happens with the guy in front of him, whoever it might be. That's the way I interpret it. I don't know that it's going to be the way that the Ravens did it the first week against the Chiefs, where like every other drive they had a different right tackle in there, and then they bring in a different right guard. That seems a little difficult to get some continuity, to get some
you
some
don't
gelling.
see that typically in the NFL.
And would you see that from Andy Reid? Like rotating tackles. Like they have always been able to have, except for that Super Bowl against the Bucs, like when they had everybody playing different positions. I mean, you've had Eric Fisher at left tackle and Mitchell Schwartz at right tackle for a good portion of, Andy Reid. Then you've had Orlando Brown, and now, you had
Taylor over there,
Taylor,
Donovan Smith.
But before Taylor, who's now a Guardian.
Wiley.
Yep, Andrew Wiley and Rimmers for a little bit. So you've had guys that have been there as these are your tackles. The first time I can remember that we've seen like an actual rotating of 2 guys, if it happens, that they're looking at it and saying, somebody's still got to win. It's like a quarterback, battle in college football that goes into week 1.
Yeah.
And when the coach is like, well, we're going to find out week 1. They're both going to get an opportunity to play when the lights are brightest.
And it's not like it's at right guard. It's at left tackle.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a position where you can hide him maybe a little bit, give him a lot of help. Left tackle, you're there on an island, especially last week when you guys talked about it. They weren't chipping, they weren't velcroing a tight end to his left hip there to help with Hendrickson. They were leaving him on his own, and it's obviously the most important position on the offensive line, one of the most important positions in football. I don't hate it, by the way. I mean, rotate the guy. I mean,
whoever's doing better.
Yeah, stick with him.
If Kingsley's missing blocks and getting beat, well, then bring in Wanya Morris. And if he's missing blocks and getting beat, then move Joe Tooney out there. Bring in somebody at left guard if you have to, because Joe Tooney filled in against the Bengals a couple of years ago when Orlando Brown went down, and then Lucas Niang ruptured his patella in that game, and Joe Tooney had to play left tackle. I think that's an emergency situation, but I mean, honestly, if Grady Jarrett, or certainly Matthew Judon that plays outside, but Grady Jarrett's graded out as a pretty good pass rusher so far in the first couple of weeks. Judon less so. But, I mean, if one of those guys are struggling, then, hey, figure it out in this game. And if that's Joe Tooney and somebody else playing guard, then do that for this game.
I think I don't know what you guys think. I still think they run Kingsley out there to begin.
I
mean, because he had over 90% of the snaps in week 2. I don't think they're just immediately going to flip-flop that number, but maybe it drops down to a 75-25 split or something like that. I could see that.
I think it would be, can you have a...
I mean, you had this battle all off season, right? You had it all through training camp, preseason. He's earned the job. I think he should be able to retain it despite having one bad game.
Well, that's what would be surprising about this whole thing is if you went through the offseason, went through training camp, and it didn't seem like there was much of a battle at left tackle.
And in week one was fine, right?
Right. It was like, oh, he passed the test.
Yeah.
Week one, passed the test. Trey Hendrickson is a really good player and was dominating him, and he had a bad game, and that's going to happen a lot. For a rookie, he's not Joe Alt. You did not draft him in the top 10. You know there's going to be some growing pains. There's a reason you entered training camp with both Wanya and Kingsley as your left tackles. If you drafted this guy in the top 10, you wouldn't have had him and Wanya, but didn't seem like it was much of a challenge and a battle. And then after 2 weeks, you go, okay, now we're just flipping it.
And also, like, to your Alt point, he's playing right tackle, which is the easier of the two. And then Fashanu last night, you kind of saw. I mean, it is not an easy. I can't remember who said it earlier, but it is the hardest position outside of quarterback in the NFL to be a rookie at.
And
I think
that was me.
It was Gutierrez and Grunhard earlier
I've
too.
been
on
saying this for years.
It's got to be. It was Grunhard, I think.
Come on.
Former NFL player, legend, the guy that
But I've been saying this for years.
Oh man.
Sterling.
I can't believe I wasn't listening to Sterling.
Dylan, we did a show together many years ago.
Yep.
You said that left tackle was an important position?
No, I said they jump from college
Kingsley.
to the NFL.
He said
the hardest spot is tackle for to make that jump.
I think it's quarterback.
I always say outside of quarterback.
Okay, sorry, my bad.
He did say it. I guess Grunhard just stamped it.
No, Grunhard heard Sterling and then used it as his own.
You're right.
I mean, sick and tired of Grunhard listening to Sterling's offensive line takes and then using them as his own. Like, what the heck, Timmy?
Good rule of thumb: the closer you are to the football, the harder it is to come in and play early.
Yeah.
And so that's the lineman, D-line, quarterback. That's why you see, and even down at college and high school. But if you're a wide receiver, right? If you're a DB out there, you can be younger, come out and play.
Get you out in space.
Safeties? Yeah, they're
safeties. You can be young. You can be a rookie.
Running back, you could be.
You could be young. Yeah.
No, I agree, Sterling. It's incredibly difficult to get acclimated and to go from a rookie to serviceable as an offensive lineman, which is part of what has been so impressive about Joe Alt so far this year. The two highest graded tackles have been Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater. It's like, oh, nice job.
It's exactly what Harbaugh wanted to do with that place.
They're undefeated, and they're running the ball, and J.K. Dobbins is leading the NFL in rushing yards, and the first player with 130 yards and a touchdown in the first 2 weeks of the season since Garrison Hurst, back in the day, is J.K. Dobbins.
Is the Panthers a qualifier there? Do we have to kind of put that asterisk?
I don't remember who Garrison Hurst went against, so I can't say. So I don't know if Garrison Hurst went against.
I do. Let me look it up.
You, off the top of your head, who did he go up against?
No.
Was that also was that when he destroyed his ankle? Was like the second game or something like that in the Madden curse? Didn't he have like an early injury and it was like after
was he on Madden?
Another big game? What didn't Garrison Hurst have a Madden curse?
He was on the cover of Madden.
Madden cursed. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the case. He was one of those many because he had like a pretty awesome couple of years. But yeah, so J.K. Dobbins is doing that. Their offensive line is Dylan's right. It's exactly what Jim Harbaugh was looking for when he's going to take over the Chargers. I've got a quarterback who I know can make throws. I'm using Quentin Johnston differently than they used him last year, and he looks like an actual wide receiver in the NFL. Josh Palmer does Josh Palmer things. Ladd McConkey can be my possession receiver, and we are going to run the football. We're going to run it.
You are absolutely correct about your Garrison Hurst Madden. He is actually the first player that was on the cover besides John Madden, so he is the inception of the original curse.
Wow.
So 1999.
It's the Garrison cursed.
So yeah, that was 99 because in 98 he had 1,570 yards. He missed the entire 99 season, the entire 2000 season. Came back in 2001.
Wasn't he twice comeback player of the year?
One time. He came back. That's what it was. He came back after missing 2 straight years at age 30 and had 1,206 yards rushing.
What did he do? Do you have a game log for 99 or 98? Like, which was it, 98 or 99 that he had the for week 1 and week 2 with 130 yards and a touchdown, which J.K. Dobbins' first one in, since Garrison Hurst?
98 game log. 187 yards against the Jets.
And a touchdown?
2 touchdowns.
Okay.
And then against Washington, game 2, 138 yards and a touchdown.
And I think that was
98.
And I think that was the Parcells Jets that had just played in the AFC Championship the year prior against the Broncos.
So 98, and I think Garrison Hurst in game 1 of 99 is when he destroyed his ankle.
And then he had a 3-game
Might have been a horse collar, by the way.
He didn't have a single.
No such thing back then, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
unfortunately,
the horse collar originated after T.O., which we're talking
did.
about. Pacheco and T.O. had the same injury and had the fibula surgery, just like Pacheco's having, and that was from the horse collar, and then they implemented the horse collar after that.
Did you hear Belichick's story about that?
No.
It was great. It was one of those
Dude,
Randy Moss.
Belichick on Manning Cast was
yeah.
amazing.
I didn't see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
He wouldn't shut up.
It
was great. He would not shut up. He was dropping anecdotes, telling stories, telling you what he thinks is going to happen in the play, what just happened. It was amazing.
Like all the bottled up,
Yeah.
insights that he's had for 20 years is just coming out on Manning. But he said he was told all week by the doctor he ain't playing.
No
He
way
ain't
he's playing.
And the first play he made, he like stiff armed his corner into the earth. He said, and he just looked at the doctor and said, "Not playing, huh?"
Hey, by the way, you're fired. So
Yeah.
you're out. But also when we look at real quick, Sterling. Sorry, when we look at Isaiah Pacheco and the 6 to 8 week timetable that they gave after surgery, we were all floored and could not believe that Terrell Owens came back that fast. That was 7 weeks. Just as a heads up. Just as a heads up, if we're looking at the timetable.
Same injury?
Same injury, same surgery, and it was like, I
don't remember my reaction back then.
I just remember that. Well, like Belichick, the doctor, no way he's playing. This is too early. He's coming back too fast from this. He's pushed it just to play in this game, but he's not going to be T.O., and he can't play at that level because this is too fast for him to return
And they
from that
didn't
surgery.
double him based off that information
Exactly.
his doctor gave him.
Yeah, but I just remember everybody going, I cannot believe this superhuman man is playing after only 7 weeks ago having surgery. And maybe it's advanced in science to where it's like, well, Pacheco, it's 6 to 8 week recovery. But if it was back in 2000, whatever that year that was, then it would have been, this is going to be like, 3 months.
You want to hear my tinfoil hat theory of why him and Donovan are not the closest of friends? I actually think because there was a kind of rumor that Donovan wasn't as focused for that game, hence why I also rumored he was dry heaving on the last drive and they had to slow down.
Yeah.
I wonder if Terrell being out there on a broken leg and then having that happen with his quarterback might be a little beef between those two guys.
I'm playing with screws and a pen in my
You're
right
not even
leg.
in shape 6 months into the season.
You're the quarterback.
You're throwing
too.
up because it's our 5th play on this drive, and we're going hurry up. Sterling, sorry.
Back to Garrison Hurst.
Yes,
really
please.
quickly.
Let's get back to Garrison
Just
Hurst.
very quickly.
I didn't want to stray too far from
Was he
Garrison
Georgia
Hurst.
grad? Was he Georgia?
He was Georgia. He actually injured it in the playoff game, in the divisional playoff game on the first carry, broke his ankle. Then he ran. The reason why he was out for 2 years after the ankle break was he ended up suffering complications.
Really?
Had a vascular necrosis. It caused part of the talus bone in his foot to die. Same thing that basically happened to Bo Jackson, which is why Bo Jackson had to retire.
Yeah.
And he came back after 2 years and ran for over 1,200 yards. So Garrison Hurst, here's to you.
Was it him or was it maybe Frank Gore? It was some running back. They used to have like a battle of the NFL stars, and they were out on the sand doing something. It was a made-for-TV thing.
Michael Bennett or something like that
and he
from
just
Georgia.
and wrecked his knee.
And ended his
And it was
career.
the last time they did that.
Yeah, they were in the sand, and it was they were playing flag football in the sand, and it was a rookie for the
Was it right around that
Patriots,
same time?
I think. Yeah. What was it?
Was it right around that same time?
Yeah. Pretty sure that was that guy. Yeah. It's man, I guess my memory did not serve me when I thought that it was the first game of like the next season with Garrison Hurst that he had the injury after being on Madden. Madden came out and then early on that year, but I guess not that's not what took place though. Yeah, I got to find out what that guy's name is. We'll have somebody probably text in the Georgia running back for the Patriots, and he was pretty good that year too. That's what sucked is like this guy's going to be pretty
the guy that went to the Pro Bowl got hurt.
In the sand that destroyed his knee.
Yep.
In the sand.
They actually talk about him in the Better to Be Feared book about the dynasty. Is actually one of the first chapters of why Robert Kraft kind of takes care of all the players and does a lot of extra because of that player. He was on his rookie contract, got hurt at the Pro Bowl on the beach, just kind of doing the fun stuff they do. And there's no protection on his contract or anything, and he was never the same.
That was Robert Edwards.
Edwards, yes.
Yeah, Robert Edwards. Yep. What did I say? Michael Bennett? Close. I nailed it.
Well, I said Garrison Hurst, so.
Yeah, Robert Edwards. He ruptured the ACL, MCL, PCL, and partially tore his LCL.
Oh, my gosh.
All the CLs.
Any CL that you find, he either ruptured it or partially tore it. That knee, oh my God, it like twisted and went the wrong way. Anyway, should we listen to Kingsley at his locker? Let's listen to Kingsley at his locker. Todd Lebo doing yeoman's work, not only bringing us the Andy Reid sound, but now he's in there talking to one of the tackles that will probably get an opportunity to play on Sunday.
And watching film against these guys, so we know what their next move is. So,
what's this week been like for you, practice-wise? Coaches said, they like what they're seeing from you.
It's been good. Just gotta prepare like you're gonna play on Sunday. So yeah, it's been good.
What have you learned about yourself the past 2 weeks in the NFL, given the first couple games experience?
Got to keep working. Got to come every day to work. One day you'll be there, and one day you're not. So just not taking the days for granted and stacking up the days just to be a better player. So.
Kingsley, how much of this week has been about just perfecting your technique versus trying to see what the other side is doing?
Just focus on myself, honestly. At the end of the day, you're just going out there to play ball and block that guy in front of you. So just working on my stuff and my own technique. So I watch film on those guys, but obviously just honing in on my craft and perfecting it so when I go out there I can play free.
We know you've been fond about Coach Heck. Just how helpful has he been this week, just coming off of that particular game?
It's been good. Just got to keep fighting like he said every day. Because another day to get better. So, and he's right. Got to come every day like it's game day. Like I said, every day is a game day. So it's good.
Andy told us you guys are both going to play. Have they told you what that's going to look like?
No, we don't know what's going to happen, but whatever happens and whatever coach decides, all props to either of us that go out to play. I have full trust in 1A, and so, yeah, it'll be good.
Thanks, Kingsley. Appreciate it.
All right, there's Kingsley. That's interesting. Great question there at the end, which is really what a lot of people were wondering is, okay, so if both tackles are going to play, what's the plan? And Kingsley said, we haven't been told yet. We'll find out what the plan is. Hey, be ready to go. Both of you guys.
I believe him. It sounded like he has it, and I would be surprised.
And that the strategy behind that would be both of you guys have to prepare like you're the starter.
And we don't want to tell you right now because you're going to maybe talk to the media. We'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, but also prepare like you're the starter, and we'll tell you on Sunday. But just know that one of you guys is going to be starting, but you damn sure better play well. If you're not, then the other guy's going to come in. So even if you're not starting, be prepared to go in the game because at any moment's notice you might be in there, depending on what's happening with this guy. But Kingsley's saying this week was a lot of technique work. So whether behind the scenes was confidence building and working with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Heck or whatever, but what he was saying is this week was a lot about the technique and doing the things that he's supposed to be doing that he wasn't doing well against the Bengals. Keontae Ingram will get an opportunity to play this weekend. Does he play? We'll find out. But special teams will play. But will he run the football? We'll find out. But Keontae Ingram elevated from the practice squad at his locker talking with Todd Lebo.
So you're up on the active roster, right? So what's that like for you? What's that feel like when you got that news?
Excited. Just really ready to go. And just pretty much earn everybody else's trust. Got legends over here, former Super Bowl team, so my job is just to earn their trust, man. I'm excited and ready to go.
So does it feel different this week, preparation?
No, sir, not really. Next man up mentality. Coach Reid emphasized that all the time, so nothing new, just get ready to go, and if my number's called, I'll be ready.
What did the coaches tell you about your role on Sunday?
Just be ready. Anything can happen. Next man up mentality. So.
What's the emotions going into a game like this?
I'm excited, man. I love the game. This is what I love to do, so the fact that I get that opportunity, I'm just ready to show it, man. It ain't too much to say.
How do you learn about when they're going to sign you? Tell me where you were and how you found out.
I just got a call out of nowhere at the house, just chilling, playing the game. And I didn't believe my agent at first, but I was like, you know what, let's go, so, yeah.
What were you playing?
Madden. Yeah. Madden. Big football guy, that's all I do, man.
You play with the Chiefs?
Come on, man, and I put myself in there.
That's right. So it came true, right? You're playing, and then you're going to be in the game. There's some other sides of this as well, right? Game check will be different. All of these things. That's an exciting thing, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is. But that's not really my focus. It's a football game. It only lasts so long, and me playing running back, I know it's a short window. So while I got this window, I'm just trying to maximize as much as possible, and I'll worry about the checks later.
All right, there's Keontae Ingram.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was great.
By the way, Keontae Ingram doesn't think Pacheco's good enough for the Chiefs.
What?
Is that anybody else there?
Oh, yeah, because
he plays Madden, but he puts himself in
Yeah.
At running back instead of Pacheco. Like, woof. Is there an issue in the locker room, do we think?
Maybe he's running like a pro style set. Maybe there's two backs back there.
It's a pro style.
Wing T.
They're running 22 personnel.
Yeah, you got that split formation.
Big fan of Don Farrell, the split T formation. You're
exactly
real
right.
big fan.
This is how the Chiefs' 3 running backs will line up this weekend, or at least how they stack up this weekend. Keontae Ingram, the bigger back that's a more of a power runner, is the smallest running back of the 3. Keontae Ingram, 6 foot 221. Carson Steele, 6'1", 228. And Samaje Perine, 5'11", 235.
Yeah.
There's some thick boys back there. Those are some thick dudes.
Keontae Ingram is the guy that's the smaller lightning to everybody else's thunder. So, yes.
Are you guys surprised that he finds out from his agent that
Yeah,
he's
that was a
getting
little
moved on? I
surprise.
mean, you're there every day at the practice facility. You're
Yeah.
on the practice squad. You don't hear that
Couldn't
from a
just be
coach?
Like, hey, we're gonna activate you this week from the practice squad. It's like,
I don't know. He called Lebo sir, which I liked. I'm a big fan of Keontae Ingram now.
Yeah.
Calling Lebo sir.
Respect your
Yes,
elders.
sir.
He's way elder.
yeah, you know what? That actually, I think less of him now. It's weird that we have this exact opposite.
He doesn't like
visceral
sportsmanship.
opinion.
Oh, so that's why you like the Bengals so much.
Well, I don't think you need to. I don't think you need to shake hands at the end of the game. I don't think Major League Baseball players are terrible sports because they don't shake hands with each other at the end of the game.
Let's not get into this.
Well, I'm just saying, like, watching a Major League Baseball game, I think the fabric of our society has gone awry because Major League Baseball players shake hands with each other, not the other team.
He's exaggerating.
So,
other
what? No.
people's- People that like handshake
I'm not.
lines.
I'm not exaggerating.
He's twisting.
I'm not
their,
exaggerating. People that like
statements.
handshakes. Dylan is not being sarcastic when he says freaking break. We'll do that. We'll come back. We will tell you who is lighting it up and give you our predictions before the show is over on a Friday.
Dispensary, Kansas City's #1 trusted source for all cannabis products. Try their new AI Bud Tender to help you shop their huge menu online. Visit greenlightdispensary.com for more info.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, Mick Schaefer. Where's your confidence level, Mick? In
7.
9
12.
games. 9
All
games.
of it.
9 games left for the Royals in the season. Confidence level.
I
that
tweeted
they,
yesterday.
So
Somehow
you've got a 12 out of 10.
Yesterday, their playoff odds actually went up because the Twins lost another game. So they started like 89%. Now they're at 90.
Yeah.
And I tweeted that the fact that they have a 90% chance to make the playoffs makes me not believe in any math that's ever been done before. I'm not a believer in math anymore.
It's not mathing.
Because it
math
feels
doesn't
like
seem to be mathing.
And going into yesterday, the Twins were like at 78 or something like that, or 80, and those numbers feel like they should be 60 and 50.
Yeah,
it feels like about a 60% chance right now for the Royals.
Well, and of course it's like, okay, so if the Royals, if all they go is 3-6,
the math though is they're not fans of the Royals, so they don't have those emotions.
But the Tigers and the Twins would have to go 6-3 and better.
That's the best part. 2 teams have to pass you.
And you've got the tiebreaker.
It's like in ZOUs, just don't be the slowest.
Exactly.
It's a ZOU lesson right there.
Just don't finish third out of these 3 teams, and you've got a 2-game head start. 3-game head start, essentially. You've got a 3-game tie.
You do on
tie goes
on
to the Royals.
Tigers.
Yeah, tie and the
How
Twins.
do they win? How do they win that season series?
You got the tiebreaker over the Twins and the Twins.
No, not the Twins. The Tigers.
The Tigers have the tiebreaker over the Tigers there, but they do have the tiebreaker over the Guardians, just in case these 6 games. If the Royals go 9-0, then all it takes is
that's 90 wins.
The Guardians,
91 wins.
To go 3-6,
yeah.
and the Royals win the division. So I mean, I'm just saying there's a chance.
A series win this weekend would make me feel so much better.
Yeah, tonight and tomorrow are huge. They are monstrous games because Sunday you've got Blake Snell going.
So and then Detroit's got Baltimore this weekend.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Go O's.
Yeah, and by the way, Detroit has the White Sox for 3 at the
they
end
have
of the
White
season.
Sox to end, so it's going to be.
Minnesota's got 3 in Boston, and Detroit has 3 in Baltimore.
I think
this weekend is huge.
I honestly think 86 wins still gets it done.
One of the Royals at 82.
So that's go 1-2 in 2 series and win the other.
Start by winning this series would be great.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think that Tigers will get there, especially with 3 against the White Sox. I don't think Minnesota will. I think 86 gets it done.
Minnesota's got 3 against Miami, which helps. But they've got 3 against Baltimore.
They got Baltimore too,
and they're in Boston this weekend.
And they have the Red Sox.
Yeah,
who they've probably packed it up at this point.
Well, the thing is, this weekend is crucial because again, Minnesota's in Boston and Detroit and Baltimore are playing each other.
Yeah.
If you can find a way to, obviously take 2 of 3, right? Just win tonight, and see what happens over the weekend, just to get the bad taste behind you.
Just win one of those 3 games against the Tigers, and that number's probably 96%.
Yeah,
I told you that was my nightmare heading into this year. I said it 2 weeks ago.
What'd you tell me?
No one believed me. They called me crazy.
Oh, boy.
Nobody believed him that the
that
Royals
left
kept
tackle's
losing.
important.
Nobody believed Sterling that if the Royals kept losing and then got swept by the Tigers, it would be a little closer to them making the playoffs.
No, everyone was so confident. I go, you guys are a little too confident for my liking over here. That Detroit, everyone's talking about Boston and Seattle. I go, it's Detroit.
Everybody's talking about the math of it, that you've given yourself such a margin for error, which they have.
Yeah.
They gave themselves
and then
a margin.
Detroit was playing good ball, and the
That's
Royals
awesome.
have played like ass.
Right.
But luckily,
and even with that happening, they're still 2 games up.
Well, luckily,
that's sort of the point.
The Twins have played worse. The Twins have won 10 games in their last 30. They are 10
So
and 20.
okay, so if the Royals hold on and make it, can we say, man, you were wrong?
Yeah.
Should we say that at the end?
Yeah, that's
okay,
fine.
cool.
I still think they make it, but I was nervous. This is my nightmare. I'm terrified.
I wasn't at 99%. I'm like, I believe math. They invented numbers long time ago.
Yes,
it's worked so far for me.
Universal
My
language.
plans were the exact opposite. 8. He had an 8 magic number of 8 going into that series. They had magic number of 8 Saturday night after winning against the Pirates.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking, you sweep these guys. It's down to 2.
You need some more magic.
Yeah, their number's still 8. Do they not know that? That's one of those numbers that needs to move. It's not like body temperature. 98.6, we keep it there. 8 needs to move. We need to drop that a little bit.
Let's see who's lighting it up. Sterling, who's lighting it up for you?
Michael Wacha.
Okay.
Hopefully.
This is also kind of like a preview. I think Michael Wacha gets it done. I think he goes deep in the game. But just this season, Walker's been incredible. He got 3.29 ERA, 156 innings, 13-7. I mean, Michael Walker's been everything and then some for the Royals. And there's a little preview pick, I guess. I think he gets it done. So I think he lights it up tonight in a good way.
Dylan, lighting it up for you is?
I have it in a bad way here. College sports only is the credit for this tweet, but if you are signing up for the Fanville sponsorship as a quarterback currently in college or out of college, you should not. They have the last 4 endorsers of the Dr. Pepper Fansville. DJ Uiagalelei, they just said
job.
he's terrible. That's the
that's been rough
curse.
for him.
Bryce Young got benched. Caleb Williams went 8-5 his last year, and then Quinn Ewers is the newest one, and he is injured. So it's almost a Madden curse there for the Fanville commercials.
There you go. Who's lighting it up for you?
Well, South Alabama made me some money last night.
There you go.
Went on the road. They were dogs. They won by 34 points.
Yeah, and that includes a Hail Mary at the beginning
I know, right?
by
Yes,
App State.
yes.
They completed a Hail Mary 1-on-3. And one guy down there and 3 defenders and completed that Hail Mary. That was pretty good. Although it was smart by the wide receiver to then chuck the guy as the ball was coming near him. Just do that every time.
Every time.
It's dumb if you don't. Who's lighting it up for me? To me, lighting it up is, unfortunately, it's been the Tigers. So in a bad way. It has been the Tigers lighting
Jason.
it up. And Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, yeah.
Lighting
How
it
we
up
forget
last
that?
night. 17 total bases, 10 RBIs. He's now at 51-51 season. He doesn't just have a 50-50 season. He's got a 51-51
Was
season.
10 RBIs, is that a record? I've never heard that many.
Well, what's his name? Fernando Tatis Sr. had 2 grand slams in the same inning?
Yeah. So that was
That's
8.
pretty good.
Yep.
Did he have any more that
No, I don't
game?
think he did. I think 10 is the record. I think 10 RBIs in one game is a record.
12.
12 RBIs in one game is a record.
Who was
by
it?
Hack Wilson.
Jim Bottomley and Mark Whitten.
Mark Whitten. He had a 4-homer game. That was probably
that's
that
what
game.
It was, yeah. Shohei is the first person with 17 total bases without having 4 home runs in a game. Everybody else that's had 17 total bases had 4 home runs in a game. All right, prediction time. I'm going 23-17 Chiefs over the Falcons. Still a 1-score game. I do think they'll cover and win, but I'm not picking a blowout and a wide margin until we see that. Stu?
What'd you say?
I said 23-17.
Got 27-23.
27.
Ooh, nice.
There's a 3s and 7s. I see why you were wondering. 27-23. Dylan?
I will go 23-20.
23-20. Nicholas?
I'm going 27-24 Chiefs. I don't like what I've seen from their defense so far, and I imagine I still won't like it on Sunday.
Appreciate you going me, then Mick, so I couldn't be accused of conflict.
Exactly. I know. We need to switch it up from time to time. Kind of like the left tackles. Both of you are going to get an opportunity to lead off
There you go.
from time to time.
I'm one. No, wait. I want to be Kingsley. I don't know.
I'm Kingsley. No, I want to be Wanya Morris.
Can I be Donovan Smith?
You're a boy. I want to be a man.
Sit back and watch.
Wanya Morris. Yeah.
God.
I want to be Caliendo. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Cuts next.
Payton fandom and not take shots like that because it's a down bad situation for me right now.
Dylan is probably the biggest Sean Payton fan outside of New Orleans and the Payton family.
Yes.
The guy that drafted Ian Book in the 4th round, and the guy that compared his excitement for Bo Nix as the excitement he had from Mahomes coming out.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can stop making
Well,
good
that's-
points whenever you want.
Anytime.
I'm down bad.
At any point. Objection. Why? Because it's detrimental to my argument.
You're a big Sean Payton fan?
Love Sean Payton.
Well, it's fading for sure.
Don't you know what? You stay strong. Stay
They did
strong.
They
little
did
root.
him wrong with Kevin James playing him as.
I think it was a spitting image.
I was gonna say it's probably spot
Looked
on as of
exactly
now.
right.
Oh, was that Mall Cop?
Yep,
it was.
Mm-hmm.
Taking it out, blowing on it, and putting it back in like it's an N64.
That's actually a lyric from a rap song, right?
Yeah, you just take it out, blow on it, and put it back in.
Like an N64.
Oh no!
Back it up. Well, give me these old balls, these new balls.
Oh, God. Give me these old balls.
Stop. Give me these new balls.
Harleman's Health, gotcha.
New balls.
We are 4 sophomores in high school here. That's what we are.
Oh, I can't wait to get into my sophomore year. I can't wait till I get to high school. Stay
Not
here.
easy. Maybe I've overshot it a little bit.
That was
Sent you that text.
Nick sent me that one. I forgot to put in the Bob Uecker one from a few days ago. Damn it. We don't have time to bring that up, do we? It's from like Tuesday or Wednesday. Damn it. The Milwaukee.
Hey, there's always another Friday.
No, there's no more Fridays ever. The Milwaukee Brewers won the division, and they were talking about celebrating with Uecker, and they were pouring beer on him, and he goes, "I peed my pants."
Is he still calling their games?
Yes.
No way.
Fucking Bob Uecker, man.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. Take over, Monty. I'm in the bag. Program next.